wanted to ask, bro, how far are you from finishing your cooking and, you know, preparing your stuff? Where are you at with that?
I'm finished. I'm just waiting for this little boy to finish his food and evacuate the lounge. You get me?
Okay,
He's sitting in my
simply because,
spot.
yeah, I want to be able to see your handsome face, bro, and the way your head is and the light, it keeps on blocking it, and you look really dark, and then you come in, and I'm not too sure. So it'd be good. I want to officially, although this is just flowing, this is very organic the way it's been going, and especially on this occasion, communicating with you, I can imagine it's going to be very organic. But I would like quality imagery, you know, good sound, and all of the rest of it too.
You are spoiled, boy. Who spoiled you, man? Dad.
Technology, man, technology, bro.
So as this look, is this good light for you?
Yeah. There, look at Mr. Samin D, man. Nice, bro.
With good hair.
Yes, with good hair. Your daddy got some good hair.
Actually, but not better than mine.
All right, me and Uncle need to have a conversation, yeah? But finish your food and go and play in your room, yeah? Yeah, man. But I'm all good now anyway, bro.
All right. Do you still need to do any prepping or anything? I don't, because I wasn't.
My feet is up, fam. My feet is up.
Oh, nice, bro. So I'm glad to be in your company. My feet's up, but on the floor, but stretched out in that way, same manner.
Yeah.
And we've been talking slop already, and what I would like to do is, like, before we just keep moving forward and rolling, because as I said, it's very organic. There is no structure or formula outside of what I know of you and what you know of me and what can come out of this, and I guess what we don't know about each other that can come out of it. But what I would like to do is just officially make sure everybody knows definitely who Samin D is on the screen, and you know, the rest of it, who you are, what you're here doing, and I'm gonna piggyback off, you know, anything that I think I know about you or how we connected and all the rest of it, and then we're just gonna open up the space, bro. And what this is, just so you know, just to kind of give a little pre, this has come out of something that basically, I think, as we spoke, I was planning to do around the summertime. You know, we've been mapping it out previously about doing podcasts and got, you know, where I'm on the circuit, doing the festival circuit and the conferences. I should be using those places and spaces to grab footage, to grab content, you know, just to document it in general. And part of that was going to be basically starting up or mapping out a podcast and, you know, a few other ways of disseminating the information. That was going to be with, you know, some folks here in the UK, you know, my family in Detroit, and, you know, we was mapping out. And in a nutshell, COVID-19, lockdown, quarantine, isolation, all those buzzwords, all of that took place, and I had to reanalyze and reassess, like I guess everybody else did, as to what's going on, what you're going to do. And I've lost your sound, you know, you put man on mute.
Yeah. I was just shouting in it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to interrupt the recording still, but yeah.
Positive affirmations, I hope.
No. It's that time, innit? It's that time for bedtime for a little someone, boy.
I feel you.
Yeah.
But what happened is, you know, recalibrating, you know, reassessing, having to remap. And what I decided to do was just basically push it forward, simplify the model, utilize the technology that's at hand, and start going with what I feel. And what I felt was I wanted to kickstart doing some Zoom talks / podcast / conversations, call it what you want, around and geared around people who I've been inspired by, like how I set up and started doing what I'm doing now. But I'm now on the other side, as well as being invited to do talks and all the rest of it. It started off me doing the same. I used to invite, as you know, people over doing talks and workshops and seminars and stuff. And what I decided to do, yeah, I've got ambitions to host some key movers and shakers. You're one of them, don't get it twisted, but, you know, some real influencers, global influencers, you know. But I thought, regardless, I wanted to start grassroots in it, where I started with the people I started with, and start building in that way, you know, and utilizing the platforms and, you know, aligning the energies and seeing where we, you know, seeing where I've gone. And, you know, the model that we're using, you know, when I say the model, the brand, the name that what I'm going with, it's me done it, basically coined it, is Talking Slop. Slop. And it came out of initially, I was going to call it Talking Shit. And it was simply because I'm all for shit. I know we all talk a lot of shit, but I'm also aware as a horticulturalist how important shit is, you know, so I don't push shit to the side, I deal with shit. So with that said, you know, talking shit was like a metaphor and a play on the word and all the rest of it. But because shit's loaded and all the rest of it, and I want to take it international and all the rest of it, we flipped it to Slop. You know, the Slop, and that was inspired by recent influences of funk music that I've been tapping into. The whole funk, which we're going to tap into. Me, we're definitely going to conversate about this. But the whole funk sounds of George Clinton, Bootsy Collins, and you know, that Parliament funkadelic sounds. And because they had something known as Cosmic Slop. Do you remember Cosmic Slop Shop, the group?
100%, man.
Yeah, man. So all of that, you know, I start finding later on down the line, you know, as we matured, the influences behind the music that I grew up, I know you're familiar with listening to. And with that said, you know, the slop, shit, the funk, the dark matter, the shit at the bottom of the toilet, the gunk in the bottom of the, you know, the pipe, you know, there's something divine in that. You know, don't see it as shit to be thrown away. You know, just understand that there's something in that. You know, and that's what that is. That in talking shit with people over the years, many beautiful things have come out of it. You know what I'm saying? You know, like you have conversation with people, it's like, oh, it's like they was talking to me directly, and it's like they're in my head, and you know, like they deliver something for you. It seems really divine, or at the same time, you just talk and you release, and you get shit off your chest, basically. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the premise of this was about. But I did want to connect with influencers, people who've inspired me, people who I know are moving and shaking and doing stuff, and you're one of those people, bro. So I'm trying to do my little Vlad TV thing, you know what I'm saying? And bloody Breakfast Club thing and all of those drink champs things that I'm seeing that I like and I'm influenced by, inspired by, but just, you know, adding my ingredients and flipping it my way, innit? So that's it done. I would like for yourself, because on the screen here, you're Samin D, I'm Darren LeBaron. I'm 100% sure that neither of those were our birth names. You don't have to give a name if you don't want to. But just who are you, bro? However you want to deliver that. What are you about, man? However you want to share that. Cool.
Yeah, I hate introductions, yeah.
I know, man.
Yeah, it's just like, my name's
you're one of the key people that remind me about stepping out of your comfort zone, innit? Like, and moving out of the, like, when I think of that, you're one of the people in my head when I hear that voice, when I hear those principles. So today's going to be getting you out of your comfort zone too. That's what I hope to do. I don't know how many interviews you've ever done, how many conversations you've done that I've recorded and stuff, but it's definitely not one of those ones tonight. I can assure you that.
Go on. Me ready, man. Me got my goggles, man. You know. Yeah, but yeah, I'm Davis. My brother Davis Williams. Who am I? That's my name. You know what I mean? I don't really, you know, when someone asked me the other day, like, do I have a business card? I'm like, I don't have one because I do so many things, you know? But everything that I do is around transformation, is around healing, is around love, is around taking people to a higher place. You know what I mean? So the minute that I come up with a term that captures all of those principles, yeah, that's what I'll go with. But for now, I'm just Davis, and I just love life. I love people, and yeah, I just want us to be in a better place. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. That's the same kind of answer I gave the other day, man. And trust me, you know, just working it out, doing the best, you know. And I said, trying to make it greater later, you know. That was, you know,
yeah.
I feel you on that, definitely.
Yeah. But I take a lot of interest in like working with the younger generation, so young people. I love that young energy. I really don't like adults that much. They got too much. Yeah, they carry too much. You get what I'm saying? And not only do they carry it, but they want to convince you that they're not carrying nothing. You know, I mean, you know them on there, and it's this so unauthentic. It's so unreal. You know, I just don't like that. With young people, they tell you straight, like it's in black and white, and they're not afraid to talk about the things that you know, yeah, that really grab them. Or that really excites them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, they're just themselves. You know, what I find with adults is, adults, you ask them how they are, they'll tell you all the deep, all the depressing stuff, but they will not tell you how amazingly happy they are. You know, it's this always goes deep. I'm just like, I don't want to hear that energy, man. Do you know what I mean? Young people make you laugh. They come with that lightness. They come with the, you know, with the other side, with the other extreme. You know, and I'm using extreme for, you know, all intents and purpose, but. Yeah, I just love young people and their realness in it, and their potential as well, and how free they are. Adults can be very locked in their, this is who I am, this is what society says, And I ain't changing for no one, you know. Yeah. So I work with young people in that show.
And you don't like adults. That's what's just
Yeah.
really clear, mate. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't like their ways, innit? Because I know you're gonna have some people. Oh, he said he don't like human.
No, it's funny. I said that earlier on today, man. I was like, don't humans get on your nerves, man. Like, fucking hell. But yeah, that's another subject for another, people who have those kinds of conversations. But yeah, man. Nonetheless, is there, if that's your introduction, thank you for sharing, or is there more that you was going to share?
Yeah, no, man, I'm sure it will come up in conversations, you know what I mean?
Man. So what I want to do, one thing I want to do, and I actually just want to get it out of the way, because it's really obvious right now for me, because it's in red and white, you know what I'm saying, prominent in my face. And just to be a bit more specific about the young people, I want young people in it, like it's really broad. What, you're a school teacher, that is, you work in libraries, like how, I don't know how that works. I know how that works, but others may not know how that works for you. There's many routes to working with young people. And tonight's really not going to be about young people in a way. It's going to be more about you. I want to get into Mr. Williams.
Thank you.
Now you're a young man still, don't get me wrong. So I want to get it out of the way, but at the same time, I think it deserves coverage because I do know the work and effort you've put in over the years, all the different youth centres and projects that, you've put blood, sweat and tears into. I can give testimony to that. And then you've got to a point now where you're sitting on a cot sofa in your house, wearing a t-shirt with, I know, a brand on it that you birthed at the end of the day, your manifestation, your baby. I know you've done it over the years with a group of people, but I can bear witness to how it got to that point there where it's known as the Manhood Academy. So at minimum, just give us a little insight about the Manhood Academy, and that just give us an insight into your work with young people, where you're at now with it, I guess.
Yeah. There's a saying I saw somewhere, I think it's whatever you resist persists. Is that the one?
Boy, I'm going for it. I get it.
So even like as a young youth growing up, like for starters, I never wanted to work with young people in it. Like that wasn't the plan. I don't think there was a plan in it. So maybe it was the plan, who knows? But so like growing up now, I remember like some of in my area, like Plaistow, like E13, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
is it now?
I live in a real side of Plaistow, but I remember my little block, I remember me looking for one of the oldest in the area to, I wouldn't say mentor me or to be my older, but I gravitated towards him because my brother's like 10 years older than me, innit? So he was never in the yard. He was always like in and out of America and whatnot. So I was always like, well, I need something like that role modeling. You get what I'm saying? And I think it was an instinctive calling, And I remember one guy I was having a conversation. I'm not going to have his name and whatnot, but I remember him teaching me certain things like, if you're going to be a man, you need to walk like this and you got to puff out your chest. And I'm never forget the day, like I used to like emulate that walk. I'm just like, rah, like, why am I walking like this? Oh, that's what men do. Do you know what I mean? And growing up now as a teenager, that topic of masculinity or manhood always came up. And I always remember that because I didn't know what it was, I ran away from it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just wasn't interested in that particular topic. I'll do man stuff or what is man stuff, like girls or partying or whatever, fighting, but ultimately speaking, to have that conversation, like what is a man? I just ran away from. Long story short, went to university, studied, whatnot, didn't have a real sense of who I was. I will say that straight. And it's like, if you ask me who I am, I'll give you an answer, a very good answer, but it was rehearsed, innit? It's like, I'm not really tuned into exactly who am I actually? Like, what is my purpose and all that stuff? So that's not a conversation I've just never had. And, so growing up, and what happened is like, got caught up with the wrong crowd. It was the right crowd. I done the wrong things. No, it was the right thing. I made certain actions, and obviously it put me in a situation where I got a criminal record, and off the back of that, I done some community service with a football club. Yeah. So prior to that, I didn't have no direction, and then I was like, well, got a record. Go and if you want it reduced or whatever, go and do some work with these young people, run football and all that kind of stuff. There was a football project in it, so boom, done the football project now, and I was like, actually, I'm actually kind of good at football, you know. Do you know what I'm saying?
Are you now?
I'm still playing, fam. You know what I'm saying? I'm still playing. And the mentor or the project lead at the time, I don't know what he saw in me, but he saw something in it. Just like the Morpheus is always see something in someone, you know what I mean? So he saw something in me, and he literally like drag it out, you know. And it was that leader in it. It was that leader. It was that inquirer. It was that it was the man, you know what I mean? It was the man, and I definitely took a liking to him in terms of he taught me certain things, and ever since then I started working with young people, you know, but I still didn't work around masculinity, so I kind of skated around it. So I'm there coaching young boys football. You see them crying, they're angry. Oh, what happened? You know, because I see them crying, I was like, well, I'm not dealing with tears, so I would just shut down that conversation in it, and it happens time and time and time again. I've noticed that within myself, like within this field, anytime an emotional conversation or topic would appear, I'm like, I ain't guy, homie, don't do that, you know. So man, just moonwalk out of it, you know. But it was only until I went. I'm giving you the mad edited version, but in my head, I'm like, this edit is quite good, you know. So I need to get a copy because I'm
I
not.
just hope this is recorded, man. I had one misfire the other night, man, and
Oh.
I'm just we might have to re-up, but this
Yeah.
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you can have a copy.
Yeah, respect. Yeah, but long story short, I remember I was going Brixton. This was maybe like say 3 years ago, 4 years, 5 years, who knows? Yeah, a few years ago, and I met one guy outside Brixton. I was gonna go get planting in it. That's where I get my planting from, my hard food. You know, it's just nice and easy from where I live. And when I was coming at the station, one guy was giving out a flyer for trips to Africa, you know, to the Gambia, and I seen him rounding about. You know what I mean? So I know him, and I see him. I say, yeah, where I go on? You know, you just hail him up. I'm on a mission in it, so I just want to get my plant in. Who wants to be on Brixton on Saturday? That's not the place to be in it, you know. So this in and out. He gave me the flyer. He gave me his little spiel. I had no intention of going. I'm being real. I had none, you know. But then he said to me, "Just man up and come." You know when he told man up, bit like man up, you know, like there and there. Yeah, man took up my card and I said, "Put a deposit down." Do you know what I'm saying? And it was only afterwards I realized that why did those words. And it was only recently, maybe in the last like month, I asked myself, like, what is it about those words that really made me say to him, like, F you, like, you know, don't tell me that. I'll show you, you know what I mean? So I went Gambia, 2014 or 15, with my daughter, Michaela at the time, she was 9. And when I was out there, I was like, wow, that's where I saw a different model of a man, you know, like the model that I was given, puff out your chest, you walk like that and rate it. It was this what you see on TV in it, or what you see on MTV Base or MTV, whatever you like to watch, BET and all that kind of stuff. But
Channel
out
U.
there,
Channel U. Remember
yeah,
that one?
Channel U, man. But out there, I saw strong men like in the mud, like on the beach, wrestling. You know what I mean? And then I see the way they was sharing their food and stuff. I was just like, wow, I've not seen this before. I've not seen it. You know what I mean?
Swinging and sharing, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it was some of the conversations. I was privy to some conversations on the beach, and you know, you just there hanging out. And I was just like, I need to come here again because from what I'm seeing, I remember I was with my daughter in it. In the midst of Ebola, I was in daddy duty, so I was very protective, making sure that she was happy. But also, my third eye was privy to certain patterns that caught my attention. 2 weeks, no, 3 months later, I went again. You know, so obviously my daughter had a great time out there. I had a great time, but I needed my space to do my thing. You know, I went out there, and when I went out there, every 2 years at that time, Gambia, they've got something that's called the Roots Homecoming Festival. Similar to the Year of Return that you'll see that Ghana did last year. But basically what the Gambian government did, that every 2 years, they will put on a festival, you know, for the whole world, especially for those who were once in Africa, but no longer in Africa. So the Americans, the people in Europe, you know, like the diasporans, you know, it was an invitation, come back to the Gambia, learn your roots, get connected, invest, blah, 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 blah. So I was a part of all of that. It was wicked, like the colors, the people, the tradition. But one thing that they did that really created this brand was the rites of passage, you know. Obviously, with the rites of passage, for those that don't know, in every indigenous culture, you don't get to say, yo, I'm a man until, or even a woman. I'm not going to talk for the women. Now, let me not do that. You know? But for men, yeah, you don't get to call yourself a man until you go through rites of passage. And what does that look like? The elders in the village, so the older brothers, you know, the Darrens or the dads or the uncles and the granddads or whatever, they will take all of the 13-year-olds into the woods and for months and teach them about manhood, full stop, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And what that entails, that's obviously every culture has the different model of how to do it, but it involves some real work in yourself. You know, it's not about climbing trees and stuff. It's about dealing with your inner, you know, and maybe it might come out in the later conversations that we have, it might not, but that's in a nutshell. And so, but what they did, because obviously we're from the UK and we're only there for 10 days, so we're not going in our woods for a whole 4, 5, 6, 7 months. Not
Wow. Okay.
But what they did though, they gave us a tour, like a 1-day tour, you know, like at the crack of
Fast
dawn.
track.
Hmm?
Fast track.
Yeah, fast track. So yeah, like 10 o'clock in the morning until maybe, I don't know, 8 at night. It was a long hour stay, but a lot of information. We saw a lot, and there was explaining like rites of passage and what they do, circumcision and all that stuff there. And it was just like, it was that moment where I said, this is what dudes need over here, you know. They need that passage into manhood to have that sense of self-assurance to say, yes, I know what I need to be doing now. And by that process, it helped stabilize the community. It was essential. It was like a vaccine. If you don't go through this, then you're going to be a threat because you're going to come with some, you know, different concepts, different modes, and blah 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 blah. But anyway, so at that point, I came back to London and I created a rites of passage program for young boys, 8 to 13-year-olds. Teach them about manhood. Not even teaching them, but helping them discover manhood and what manhood means to them. Also looking at positive masculinity and all of those things. Yeah, so that's what Manhood Academy is. We work with young people across the UK. Ideally, we take them to the motherland, to the Gambia, and we introduce them to a customized rites of passage. And I say customized because they're not Gambians. You know, there's no circumcision going on because I'll be in prison. You know, but we have got something created where it meets their needs. And that's what this brand is about. It's about helping our sons grow up grow up to be great citizens in this effed up world. It's not even an effed up world. This is a world that is a program that is being, you know, controlled by certain people, man. But the world is beautiful, you know. But you just have to know how to. You need to know what the game is, innit? You need to know what the game is and what's going on. But a lot of these young boys growing up, they ain't got no clue, none. And why? Because no one's there to tell them. Why? Because we're the men. Like the men are ghosts, you know. The men are lost. They've not gone through the rites of passage. So this is why, in my opinion, one of the reasons why we're in this situation still.
Yeah, man, no, I'm with you on that. You know, from another perspective, you know, I've looked into rites of passages and, you know, from indigenous cultures again all around the world, and I've observed the same thing. You know, it's fundamental. I'm not speaking for the females, but I believe there is a female rights and a male rights and just community rights and blood rights. You know, just as far as you come from a particular family where the blood runs through your vein, or you come from the family who works with drums, or you come from the family who works with irons. There's various rites and rituals associated with all, no matter what you're getting into, where you're going. You know, you can't get away from it basically. So the fact that it has been totally removed, and you know the societies and the associations that you know were on offer and are on offer currently. You know, well, it's funny because I mentioned it today or yesterday, speaking about youth clubs growing up, and you know we've been in some of the same youth clubs, but listening to one, I made reference to that. You know, one of the local schools or summer holidays, the youth club there, and actually feeling like it was a youth club that I wanted to go to. Feeling like some of the elders in there really did care about our well-being. Like it did feel community orientated, you know what I'm saying? Whereas in, you know, I've worked in provision, I'm sure you have, and you know, in schools and so forth, where, you know, our children are at, you know, most of the times of their life nowadays, they're around people who don't even like them, bro. You know, not
Mhm.
do not are not feeling their well-being, you know, whatsoever. And you know, the rights that they have given us, you know, currently don't serve us well, you know. And again, I've been looking at, you know, some of the older models that are more, you know, some of them are not adaptable, you know, they're not relevant to the here and now where we are in this part of the world. But I think we do need to consider, you know, like, you know, co-creating models similar to what you're doing and others that are fit for purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
And what I realized as well is, like, you know, when you watch like all these movies where you have the hero and then you've got the villain, but the villain was once a hero, but he went rogue, he went and done his own thing.
Yeah.
And that's what rites of passage is as well, because even like the more I understand it, I realize that a lot of, I went through rites of passage in London, like all of us did, but it wasn't conducted by like the elders, you know, it was conducted by Babylon, it was conducted by someone else. We wasn't even aware that we was going through it, you know. And you know, the other side of that passage, it produces, the men that we see in society. And yeah, they're great men in society, but in terms of what's projected and what's pushed, I'm just seeing a lot of there's weak men in it, you know. And I just listen to what the women say around me, and they're just not impressed, you know. So forget the media. What I hear black women say, and women in general, you know, they're just not impressed by by the current crop of men that exist, you know. And that's a conversation in itself. Like, you know, we're not impressed with you, women, you know. But
because, you know, on the flip side, that, you know, that's what would take place. You know, I've had many and I'm around conversation, if we keep it 100, there is a tone in them on the male side that would say exactly the same. Like, you know, in a sense where I'm around conscious brothers, like, we're waiting for sisters to step up. You know, when the sisters step up and give us direction. And, you know, on the flip side, it's still a very positive notion, but it's like, wagwan, and the other current crop, you know, fit for purpose, you know, when or how, who's going to spark this, what, you know. And that, you know, these are conversations I guess the sisters are having, the brothers are having, and hopefully it merges. And it is merging, and hopefully it is, you know, it's interesting ways that may not be as obvious as, you know, as it appears, but it's definitely taking place.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Yes. So that's what I do, you know. And the more I understand like manhood, then I realize it's not even about manhood, you know. It's more about the universal, you know, approach. And yes, I don't even know what it's about. That's the thing, you know. It's not even like to say, this is the purpose or this is the, there is no direction, you know. It's just about you living your best life, like you just being fully fulfilled in whatever it is you're doing, like full stop. And if there's a collective of you that all of you have similar thoughts or a similar vision, that's even better, you know. Then you can have your little village, your little tribe, or whatever the case is. But it's not about putting people in boxes and say, you're this, you're that, you're over there, you got hair, your hairline is receded. It's not about none of that. For me, it's just about making sure that whatever it is that you're doing, you are 100% in bliss, you know, full stop. So that's what I see. That's where I see myself now. So I work with teenagers, but I just work with everyone now. You know what I mean? Even through the food that I'm doing, the vegan food, it's the same thing. It's not young people that's targeted at adults, but it's the same. Like, you know, I'm not trying to force people to eat the food, but you eat whatever makes you happy. If this makes you happy, then indulge, you know?
I feel you on that. So, again, you gave us an edited version, very much edited, you know, as far as the work and effort you put in getting to that point where you got, as I said, the t-shirt on, which is which I'm definitely feeling. But
it wasn't. I just went into the dark cupboard and I just took out anything. Do you know what I mean? So, and this is what came out. So maybe it was supposed to be here right now, innit?
It was because, you know, I need a new cap. I'll say that.
Oh yeah.
That's what it reminded me straight away. So yeah. And I was taking that cap with me around the world, bro. It was getting recognition internationally. So, you know, I'm a good ambassador for the, you know, for the academy.
I want to see the receipts, man. Like, where's the pictures, fam? Like,
they're all over. But nah, cool, bro. Like, again, I'm just looking at, you know, as I said, you've come to a long way. Because I know, man, you're known in the hood, innit? You're known in the community. You know, there's some people who, you know you. There's some people who think they know you, and some people, you know, don't have a clue. So, what I want to highlight as well is just, you know, just a bit of backdrop. because with everybody, this is one thing I have done. It's like, where did I first meet you? How do I know you? How did you enter my life? How did I enter your life? What go on? And my earliest memories of me knowing you go way back, and I just think it's a combination of Hollywood nights and Abbey Ways in it, like that. That's where I draw to. Hollywood nights, Plastow High Road, after school, and Abbey Ways just by, where Patty and Jack and them were. And there, those are my earliest memories of you, bro. And basically playing arcade games.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
And I think, yeah, for me it was like, you went Lister, innit? Lister, the play scheme there.
Yeah, I went to I think I was at school, but yeah.
Yeah. And I was even saying this as well. I was like, sometimes I feel like my youth years was like a dream, boy, because a lot of people just don't remember. Like, I have little snippets. Some people can recount, we did this, I mean, I can't remember. Don't ask me anything about football, like who won what. It's like, that is not, I mean? I didn't record it like that, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of people ask me the same question, where did we meet? I'm like, I actually don't remember, I remember moments, and I remember how you made me feel. That's what it is, about the vibration. I'm like, but in terms of the location and where that feeling was marked, I can't remember. So for you, it was definitely, for me, the first memories was like, Lister still. And it's a beautiful thing, because when you don't even feel like you have to remember, you just know that it happened, and I'm happy that it happened.
Nice. No, I appreciate that. Same speed, because like I said, I've done a few of these, and it was like, when I realized after we saw, it's like, oh, I was gonna be speaking to Davis, isn't it? It's like it was another. It's like with the others, basically, it's really clear. Like, I know these people through psychedelic community. I know these people through this angle, and this is the direction, the area that where we're gonna build on initially. And it's like, enough of what we got a lot, we got a lot to build on, potentially, all them times man used to whip your ass in blackjack, you know what I'm saying, and take your money, and all them things there, bro. Like, man got history in it. We got history. But one thing I wanted to definitely delve in, that's where I started, just the history, because it's all just relevant, but it's the music. It's my music. I think that's definitely after history and all the rest of it.
Can you see my tattoo? Is it still there?
I can't see it, man, from here. Oh yeah.
Game tight. Yeah.
Because what's come out recently for myself, for my journey, is, I said earlier on, I've been revisiting, well, not even revisiting, I'm just discovering, funk music, especially, well, when I say funk music, in particular, funkadelic, let's get it straight, the P-funk. I know many people know of funk, the various funk bands, James Brown and all the rest of it. Well, I'm not saying it like, in passing, great, some greats, but there was something unique and special about these guys, man, and the sound that they created. And how I reconnected with it recently was just like, once again, through rap music, and samples that had been used, and then checking it out and doing a few Googles, and just thinking, let me just watch it, I'm on YouTube, I've got enough time on my hands, I'm gonna watch a documentary or two on YouTube just about this Parliament Funkadelic. And then, I got to get wind of the influences that they had on the world, let alone music, you know what I'm saying, just the music industry. So ultimately what I've got from them recently is that it's like, wow, it's like all my favorite rap songs, like they've all taken samples or replayed samples specifically from this group. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, it became real obvious, like they were just classic songs that, are obvious kind of bait songs that have been put out there. But, as you're aware of, man done the underground thing, that down south and west coast thing that wasn't really popular. And in particular, the west coast sound that we were into as well, those sounds were highly influenced by the funk music. And back in the days, you had the option to go into CDs and see who produced and who played the bass and the guitar and where the samples came from and so forth. But just revisiting that again and listening to the original music and being where I'm currently at, it's been like a whole new world has opened for me, which I'm really enjoying. Bro, I'm like dancing every morning. As soon as I wake up, man, I put on that P-funk, bro. It's like, it just does something. It just activates. It's like, and I've got people around me who will give testimony to it, within this season, because, they've tapped into it and we're sharing that, that energy and that exchange. You know, we're talking about how much it influenced rap music and this, that, and the other. So where am I going with all of this? One, I want to know about D. I want to know about your music, what you've been into, what's on your current playlist. I also would like you to share, any kind of like old school sounds, like I'm talking about the P-Funk, for example. So to give you a bit of backdrop as the audience want to be familiar, I'm talking about when I first got into hip hop and it was giving me that consciousness, inspirational vibe. That was Ice Cube and Public Enemy. Yeah, there was the Dougie Freshes and the Slick Ricks and all those kind of sounds. But for my era was like once Ice Cube dropped that first solo album and Public Enemy dropped It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. For me, that was it. And then between, we're going to get there, but between the influences of the skits and the samples that were being used, primarily coming from Nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad, Khalid Muhammad, Malcolm X, Louis Farrakhan snippets and stuff like that. So between sorry?
And the 5%ers as well, innit?
All of that at that time. But between those influences and then these sounds that they were using, it was a different kind of sound. That's what basically hooked me in. You know what I'm saying? So, and now I'm looking back on the influences, although it may be considered, gangster rap, this, that, and the other, but I'm fully aware how things have come full circle. And so bringing it back home, I know you work with young people, there's drill music out, a few years ago, grime music had this thing. So let's just talk about music for a bit, bro. That's where I'm going with it, man. All your musical influences, what's going on, and all the rest of it, bro.
Yo, yeah. So what am I listening to now? This week, I've been listening to a lot of Fela, Fela Kuti. And the reason why, I'm just tired of listening to words. I just want to hear the music, you know what I mean? And the assortment of sounds. And that's what I've been really feeling the last few days, man. A lot of like African percussions, like drumming, with a little bit of saxophone. What you call that genre? Like, don't ask me, you know what I mean? I'm not studying the music like that. But what I do know is, where I'm at right now, my journey, I just want to hear the sounds, boy, because I realize, and it's interesting like what you're saying as well, because like there's a science behind it, innit? And if you don't know the science, you're just going to find yourself gravitating towards a certain type of music and not knowing the reason why, but not knowing that someone made that happen in the first place. You get what I'm saying? So even like what you're saying now, and then when I look back, even like we was in the park today, like it was in the park, I was at Clisso Park, me and Mackay, and listen, and there was a guy, we could hear his speakers. It was in like a, what do you call those? Those little carts where he was disabled in it. So I don't know what you call it. It's got the motorized, one of the mobility vehicles. And he had a big like ghetto blaster like on his lap playing James Brown. And you could hear it from like way down the path. And me and Mackay was like, wow, where's that music? You could hear it. It was a different sound in it. It was just like, wow. I couldn't identify it. But the closer it came, everyone just stopped and gazed at him. It was just like, wow. And then at that moment, I said, wow, James Brown is sick. I've not said that in years. But today I was just like, James Brown is sick. Just based on what I heard. And obviously, like, I know, like, this week, like, a great died. Do you know what I'm saying? Even like there's interviews being circulated about, like, he influenced the Beatles and he influenced, what's it called? Paul McCartney, the Beatles, Elvis Presley, that's the guy, So even when you listen to the sounds that we're listening to today, we know where the sounds came from, but we're just not taught that, innit? So even today was a reminder for me that, wow, I need to find some time to delve into James Brown because I've never done that. You know what I'm saying? I've never done this, the knowledge on any of those artists at all. When I hear their sounds, it does something to me, and I don't even inquire as to why. You know what I mean? And that's definitely is all about that knowledge yourself. Like, find out why. Like, what is it about those songs? Where did they come from? Those what are their influences?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah,
interesting.
And maybe that's why one of the reasons now, like, I just love listening to that the sound. Even there's another group that I love listening to is Fertile Ground, and is a group, I don't know where they're based, in America somewhere, and they use a lot of percussions, they use a lot of instruments, and the sound is this sick, you know what I'm saying? Not a lot of words, and if there are words, it's elongated, you know. So one song will last like say 12 minutes and they'll say like 4 things. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
You know?
right.
Yeah. So yeah, I just find it interesting. But I'm in that space now, and this is why talking slop is important, because now I'm inquiring, I'm asking myself, like, I need to look into that. You know what I mean? People need to look into that. Even as well, like on a parallel conversation, I think there's an artist. It's not even I think, yeah. There's an artist that I know. You probably know him as well. Makil Amin.
Yeah.
And he put out a video last week, I think, on his Instagram of him dancing to garage. Do you know what I'm saying? Or was it old school hip hop? No, it was garage,
I
UK.
saw a grime thing. I saw. I'm
Grime,
following him on
grime,
Insta. Yeah,
grime,
the grime.
grime, grime,
Yeah.
grime. But obviously, he was doing the African dance. He was just like, if you took music away, you think that is a ceremony listening to drumming. You know what I'm saying? And people like jumped on it. You know, like, wow, that's how you need to dance to it. But what he's really saying is that's African music. You know what I mean? Like the sounds, the influences, but people just don't do the, you know, the knowledge on it. You know what I mean? We just accept it. We think, oh yeah, it's just another sound. Like drill. There's a reason why drill is so powerful. When I listen to drill, I get gassed in it. I was like, what? I don't ask myself why. What's the influences? So that's what I'm at the moment, anyway. Yeah. So Fertile Ground and Fela Kuti.
Okay. Is there anything, because I know Fela Kuti, very influential figure, is anything you know or would like to share about his music, or why you, your influences, or his influences, should I say, that have inspired you to listen to his music now?
Yeah, what I like about him is this rebellious, isn't it? You know, he's very political without saying he's political, if that makes sense. So just the narrative that he comes out with, you know, this his demeanor, he's very unconventional. And I like that. It's not following a pattern. You know, everyone's got a little mold, you know. If you listen to artists today, everyone sounds the same. He don't sound like no one else. You know what I mean? He don't sound like no one else. And I love the weave of obviously speaking his language, and then he's speaking our language, and that splice of the two, and the unique sound, and some of the political comments that he's saying without being overtly political, but more rebellious. Yeah, that's a vibration that I'm on at the moment. I've always been in that vibration, but yeah, I just guess I'm listening to him this week, innit? Who knows what I'll be listening to next week? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. All right. So if we go back as far as you can go back, you know, what are your earliest sounds musically that you recall and that you remember triggering you, resonating, what, you know, making you, you know, twerk, wherever you got up to?
It was country and western, man. Like, you know, like that's what they played in my yard, and
keep it 100.
And that's what I grew up on, you know. And then I found some other records. It was, you know, like feeling hot, like soca, innit? Feeling hot. So those kind of sounds. And yeah, and then obviously the older you get, you start leaving the home, and then you're exposed to a wider genre. That kind of music wasn't really allowed in my house. My brother was a massive influence in regards to hip hop. He had like all of the albums from NWA to LA Cool J to Ice-T to Boogie Down Productions, KRS-One, like all of those, you know. And so even like people came to me as a knowledge when they saw that, yeah, your brother goes to America, he's got these sounds. And I'm just like, my route to music was more default because it was there. I didn't need to do no work on it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't need to study. It was just given to me. So I just adopted it without asking the questions or anything like that. And he was into the whole like breakdancing and graffiti, all that stuff there, you know what I mean? So it's only as I got older, then I began to find myself, you know what I mean? And I found, yeah, like this is why I like it, or this is what I like. But before that, like that music was given to me, innit? So as I came into like, early teens, it was very much about, the East Coast hip hop. You know? Some next. And even as I got older, I didn't even know about samples. And I remember my brother trying to school me when I was younger. I wasn't interested, you know? I just wanted to hear the music. It's only when I got older, I'm like, oh, sample. Them guys ain't authentic then, you know what I mean? It's like, Yeah, these sounds ain't authentic. That's what I remember saying that to myself because I genuinely didn't know, and I thought like, yeah, these guys are geniuses. Like what they're doing, wow. Nah,
Yeah.
man, Davis, you should have gone back. You know.
No, I feel you on that, especially listening to some of the stuff that, the Parliament stuff recently, like even to the point where like in some cases, no, they didn't even sample, bro. It's like they just played the whole song and rapped over it. Like there's no production skills required, you know what I'm saying? It was just like they just press play and raps. Like I was like, right, you just cut and paste, like
Yeah.
straight up. So I feel you on that one. But thank you for sharing that one, bro. So like you're growing up, you're listening to music. You obviously everyone has their influences and stuff. And where I would really want to take it is like to really find out. You've got your country and Western influences. You've got your hip hop.
There's no influence there, bro. I'm just saying that's what I heard.
Like now you're listening to Fela, all the rest of you come full circle, explore. Then there's still a lot more to explore, as you were saying. Like there's still some history and Googles you can do on other genres, other artists and whatnot. But ultimately, I want to find out like what does music mean to you? What does music do for you, bro? Why are you listening to music?
Those kind of questions, boy. What does music? And when you ask questions like that, yeah, it's not even a rehearsed response. You man got to just pause and really ask it. You got to ask yourself that question, Yeah. And generally, I don't know what it means. I know how it makes me feel, So I can't even articulate to say, but like that's not, it's not happening today, But it may happen, if I start talking about the feeling, it just makes me feel happy and free. Like simple truths. It is whatever is going on. It's like the music makes it disappear, and this activates a different different side of my brain where I'm just excited, I'm happy, I'm free, I'm in love, and I get inspired. That's what it does for me. And I was watching like a cartoon. I can't remember which one it was, yeah. And in order to like unlock the safe, they had to play an instrument, And that's how I see music as well. It's like certain sounds just unlock certain parts of your brain. Speak to the scientists about all that stuff there, or those are into that kind of knowledge. But for me, like that's how it feels. Like when I listen to certain songs, all of a sudden, it's like certain thoughts just start, and maybe to process different thoughts and feelings and understandings, and it's profound. And when things are so profound, you just have to be in that space. Don't even try to understand it. I think us as humans, we just want to understand just be in that moment. And then when it's finished, you can talk about it, like we're doing now. But it's just a vibe. It's a vibe. It's a good vibe. Even I've got little fella playing in the background, and I'm just like, like, boom. I don't even know what he's saying, but it's just you don't need to know what he's saying. It's just the frequency in it,
No, I feel you, man. This is just coming out of conversations that I've been having recently with a range of different people. But it's just like, boy, what music means to us. Like, it means so much, like it's valuable to people on so many different levels. Whether it's like, as you're explaining, just like it's unlocking stuff within inside me, or it's allowing me to release and feel liberated. This has come out of me having experiences where I had to ask myself or remind myself, when was the last time you danced? When are you, what does dancing do for you, man? Do you remember how you feel like when you dance? Like, why are you not dancing more, kind of thing, and getting in, and the music that makes you dance, and it's just a reminder of the power, and I've never been disconnected from it, but it's just, it's the revelation of, the role that music has played. Like, what would you do without music? Like that kind of thing is like, we just been bouncing that around, and simply for the fact that, part of the work I'm involved in, I'm sure part of the work you've been involved in, especially with young people, and we talk about the influences of music, and it's, negative, or it's, stirring them the wrong way. And I'm 100% sure that people were saying that about the music that I grew up listening to. And I know that many others listen to similar music, but, it didn't lead them down that road per se. And others, was it the music that led them down that way, or was it society? Was it other things? I can't point it directly at the music, because what it made me think was, hold on a minute, these P-Funk guys, they were basically singing about partying and taking drugs. That's what I've got. And having sex. That's what George Clinton and guys were singing about in their songs, what I've gathered from, and complimenting women on their physical physiques. That's what the content of the music is about, pretty much. But the music itself is amazing. But the content is no different from the rap music kind of content, you know. And now we know that they sampled and replayed it and stuff. But because it was asked to me about it, and I thought, but it actually inspired rappers to take that, you know, music, that sound, and turn it into something constructive, like real. Because for me, that initial gangster rap was very positive, street aware. You know the deal. Street was, the street scriptures, and at the same time, depending who was interpreting it, you may have missed that, but nonetheless, it was like how this music has evolved and growing, and how in the documentaries, George and those Bootsy Collins talk about how rap music resurrected that sound, because of the samples, because of the replays, and they got to start touring again, and then they become friends with the rappers. And bro, it was like elders, and I saw a lot from it, just the linkage of the elders and the youngers, and how now they're just not really there, and in the music, and just the role that music plays. And as you know, I've tried to do it through music myself, working with people, using those models. You've used football and other models, as you've explained, and engaging people. But music and food, I found are very key, and you've done, they're common denominators. You know what I'm saying? Ways of really engaging anyone in the world with. You know what I'm saying? You can get a pass into anywhere if you've got food and a good beat going on, like, and that's real talk in many cultures. So again, curious to know. Some people like music is my life. They give me that side, or that that energy. So I'm just curious to know the role music plays with you, and the power that you think it holds, and that type of vibe there, man. So if there's anything you'd like to add, feel free, man. Go for it.
No. There's feedback, is that from me? Yeah, I think that's all right now. Yeah, it's highly spiritual. Do you know what I mean? Highly. And I was even thinking, like, obviously, it's all about your senses, isn't it? Like, if we couldn't hear, would music exist? Maybe that's a debate, what I'm saying, which it's not about.
I've seen documentaries where they work with deaf people who, feel the vibration of the sounds and feel the speakers, and there's that.
But even like, when you listen to certain sound, it does some, like music, and I'm just thinking, like, if you saw certain things, like visually, does it have the same effect as music? I don't think it does. Because you could be on a mountain peak looking at something like, oh my God, this is heaven. I don't think we'll have the same impact that song will have on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I personally don't think so. You know what I mean? If you look at the other sense, like taste, you could eat the most divine meal ever, and it's not going to have that impact that music has on you. So music is truly unique, in my opinion. And this the way people can express. Like, when you listen to like gospel, like, I'm not a church man, innit? But when you listen to those choirs sing, those gospel, I'm just like, shit. Like, my eyes are this, you can feel the tears, it does something to your soul, Powerful shit, boy. Powerful.
Yeah, for real.
And in the hands of the wrong people, my days. You know what I mean? It's a lot of power there, man. And all it is expression, innit? That's all it is. It's a sound that you make, But those sounds are, man, it's not of this world, innit? Or it is the world.
Sound, innit? It's,
Yeah.
Word. Created, as they say.
Yeah.
Using those
even like look at last week, you had like Erykah Badu and Jill Scott. Like, they broke I was on Facebook, so last week they had a clash. It wasn't even a clash. It might have seemed like it was a clash, but they were complimenting each other. And they done a Facebook live video. Instagram live last week.
Right.
And they were literally, I think they were about maybe, I don't know, maybe like 500,000 views. Like 500,000 people stood still to watch this. Those numbers are ridiculous. Everywhere you looked on social media, all you saw was, this song is amazing. This song, oh, Erykah, I love you. Jill Scott, you're the bomb. Blah, blah. Like, people were going mad. People were going mad, fam. And then I was saying to myself, imagine these two people has got more influence here. Just those two, they got more influence than every single government on this planet. If they said the right thing, you know, if they wanted to direct the curve, they could have easily have done that. Easily. That's power, boy.
I feel you, man. You know,
through music, you know what I'm saying? Through their ability to express their emotions and whatever it is they're tapping into, you know, which is that source. You know, it's all expressions, isn't it, of whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? It's all a manifestation of that, and different cultures call it different things. I'm never gonna disrespect that energy by calling it anything. It is what it is, isn't it? You know, and people just tap into it and it's expressed, and it sounds fucking amazing. You know what I'm saying?
Nice, man. Yeah, I didn't actually get to see the Jill Scott, Erykah Badu thing. I've heard through the grapevine, you know, what they do and how they do it, and I know what they do and how they do it. So I expected amazing things nonetheless. But yeah, I'm with you on that. You know, just the power, you know, of the tool. I see music as a tool. It's technology, the ability to build, the ability to destroy individuals, communities with music is definitely a way. You know, we looked at, you know, so we've been talking Slop about, you know, the sounds, you know, the first sounds coming from human beings, you know, oh, ah, bah, you know, making sounds. That's where, you know, music comes from. And then to the Baka people, the so-called pygmies of, you know, Gabon and the Congo and so forth, Central Africa, and they do like water drumming, you know, like the first drums of drumming outside of, you know, patting on your legs or whatever, you know, or them in the waters, and they do all this kind of ceremonial rhythmic dancing with music. But what you find in these cultures in music isn't just, it's not just entertainment, you know, it's like, it is really deep and spiritual for these people. You know, the first songs you find most groups create and produce and display are geared around, you know, the nature they're around, the gods, the spirits. You know, they make songs about, you know, the environment and so forth. It's not necessarily about, you know, how high they can climb the trees and what, you know, how brand new my grass skirt is. You know, whatever they're wearing, they're not posting about the things they're wearing and stuff like that. So again, it's just like what you do, do while you're on the stage. For sure. So
and I was listening to like Michael Jackson. I swear it was Michael Jackson, where he was saying like, yeah, you have to like become the music, innit? So, you know, is a different way of, it's like alchemy, innit? Like when sometimes I listen to certain songs, it's like I feel like I'm the song. Like literally, like I start moving different, you know, and there's no set way to move. Like however the music, and we all hear music differently as well, you know. So however you hear it, I'm subtly saying that I can dance, by the way. But you know, like yeah, when you hear the music, you just move, you know, and you flow with it. And that's alchemy, man. That's magic, fam. You know what I'm saying?
And you know, ultimately, when I was talking about the dancing earlier on and why you're not dancing, it wasn't just the fact of dancing. Because it's like, I do dance. What do you mean? Like this conversation just tell me was like, yeah, but it was like, no, you know, dancing with meaning, dancing with intent. You know, there's healing in the dancing. You know, there's healing in the music, and you know, the combination of the two in the right setting and with the right intentions, you can definitely make magic. And you know, I'm fully aware that, you know, the dancing and the music in traditional cultures in Africa, in India, throughout Asia, you know, can put them in trance. You know, in trance like states where they do their spiritual communion, you know, through music. So yeah, it's just kind of putting it out there and allowing that conversation to be discussed. What we can do with it.
Yeah, some of the workshops that I do with the youths, like we look at like videos of then and now, you know. So you show them a music video of today, and you'll see like a certain archetype, and you'll see a certain pattern. And then you take it back to the 60s, and you know, I showed them stuff like Soul Train. They are like mesmerized by the level of creativity. You know what I mean? You like take it back to 2020 or 2019. That's when I did it last and whatnot. You know, you can see that the branding was very much like Nike, Adidas, you know, Gucci. Everyone was dressed everyone had a certain drip. Everyone looked very similar with what they was wearing. When you go back to the 60s, fam, like no one looked the same. No, like
room, innit?
Yeah, everyone just looked different, and how they were dancing, how they dance now. Everyone's got the same dance. You know what I mean? You know, back then, fam, like your dance is unique to you. It's an expression of who you are in this time, this day and time. And they were like, but even like looking at stuff like Soul Train, and yeah, bro, like we was tapping into something different, man. You know, and even just like thinking about it and watching it, I might even watch that before I go to bed. Actually, you know, it just shows you that sometimes you have to go back. You know, you have to go back. You can't always look to evolve. You know, I'm not a fan of evolution where, you know, you always trying to find the next invention. No, like we had everything already. Like, why are you trying to distort it? You know what I mean? Go back to the source and preserve it, you know, because that's the good thing right there. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like knowing that you got an empress there, you know, she's got she gives you the best sex possible, but you want to create an app, you know, so you can do it through like, why would you want to do that? Like, go to the source, fam. Like, you know what I mean? Go to the source. So, those early sounds, they're underappreciated. Definitely, there's not enough people know about it. People appreciate it, but again, there needs to be the knowledge done around it. You know what I mean? So people can really appreciate, and it's through conversations like this which I appreciate, because now I'm definitely like, yeah, you know, well, let me look into it now. You know what I'm saying?
Nice. Yeah, man. Well, I've been inspired by others recently. Like, have you heard this? And and it's like, you're just like, wow, no, I haven't. You know, let me take time to observe and process.
Yeah.
And it's definitely unlocking the sounds that the music produce. You know, it's like, I was like, I needed this in my life. You know, for real. So, wicked, man.
And I think I think it's like with everything else, like everything evolves in it. So even when you're talking about like manhood, for instance, when you look at the type that exists today, like this type didn't exist back then. Like back then it was a different model, innit? You know, but they were more closer to the source, innit? But now you got man like they're trimming their eyebrows and they're getting the eyelashes done. Like, what is all that? You know what I'm saying? What is all that? So it's not about the evolution. It's about like definitely going back. And if you don't matter where you go, even like with the food, like plant-based, like people going back now to like eating as natural as possible. So no matter what your addiction is, it's all about going back. You know what I'm saying? It's about going back, because now people are realizing that, wow, where we are now, nah, man, like people just don't like it, innit? And they know what and they can see what the corporations have done. Do you know what I'm saying? To their existence, you know? And now people don't like it.
Yeah, so the two things come to mind is, you know, one of my brands, Ancient Future and Sankofa, you know, as principles as to what, you know, what they stand for and represent. So then, like, just to follow up from that, bro, because earlier on you've talked about men, you know, being strong and then basically being weak, you know, becoming weak, you know, even with the music, you know, being creative, being unique, and now everybody copying each other, mimicking each other and sounding the same. You know, and you know, showing like, what's going on, bro? What's going on, man?
And I want to use the word weak. Yeah, I'm not talking about like physically strong. You know, I'm not talking about being able to do press ups or whatever. You know, I'm talking about like how deep your roots are in it.
I got gym, you know.
Yeah, you know, I'm just talking about like being grounded in who you are. You know, like being grounded. You're so in touch with who you are. It's like you don't the gravitational pull of, you know, what's trending on Instagram is not going to affect your core. It's not going to affect who you are. You know what I mean? And today, all I see is this men just trying to be everything. Like, it's not just men, it's just humans, innit? You know what I'm saying? They're just, trying to be everything other than themselves, you know? So boy, that's the situation that we're in. But it's important that, you know, like through conversations, and I can't remember what you was asking me, but you know, I did feel the need to say that because, it's, and I don't even want to start talking about the toxic man. I don't want to, and that's my resistance now, innit? I don't want to start talking about how effed up things are from what I can see. You know what I'm saying? And if it does go there, it will. But I didn't really want it to go there on a Friday night. You know what I'm saying? It's talking about the trauma and the generational scars. Because man I'm surrounded by that every single day. Like there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain out there. So much pain Like people don't even know they're in pain. You know, they're just used to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's bad, and it's been amplified now because look at me, I'm talking about it. You know, but yeah, it's just been amplified with this lockdown. Do you know what I mean? Like everything is spiked. You know, domestic violence is spiked, suicide is spiked, like bare things is spiked because of what's happening. But people don't want the solution, innit? Like you present something to say this is a possible way out. And all it means is, you know, you have to, it's like if that's a passage, you have to go within, and you have to be prepared to face your demons. Like, are you prepared to face them? Like, full on. People say yes, then you say, okay, boom, this is what you need to do. Nah, man, they're not on it. You know, they're not on it, man. And it's strange, isn't it? Don't you think that's strange, bro? Like, you know, you go through that door and you have freedom, but you don't want to go through it because you're so addicted to the protection that this mother, you know, it's not even big brother, it's big mother, you know, like people call it like big, because that brother doesn't give you that kind of protection that the mother gives you, you know? Like we're so dependent on this mother that this Babylon is created, do you know what I mean? But they've even changed the name to make us, to try and fool us. No, man, like a lot of us are sucking the breast of this system that we're attached to, but people don't want to detach from it. And that's the biggest issue. We're so hooked on the wrong mum, innit? You know what I mean?
Adopted mum.
Yeah, the adopted mum. Yeah, man. So and ultimately,
taking that away from stepmothers and adopted mothers who do amazing jobs.
Yeah.
But no, I feel you, bro. You know, one of the things I always say is like, yeah, man, we walk around, you know, as a metaphor, as alcoholics, and you know, don't acknowledge that we're alcoholics. Real work to take place. You need to be able to go to AA and say, my name's Darren, and I'm an alcoholic. Start the work. But when you're not even in that place to acknowledge you're an alcoholic, or you've got this luggage, or you've got this chore, or you've got whatever it is that you carry with you that doesn't serve you well, and you're not doing what it takes to deal with it, then yeah, that's something I've observed that we're really keen to embrace. We're keen to embrace the problems, the bag of chat, the gossip. You know how it goes. Is that's just part and parcel of the environment that we're raised in. But again, the key thing being, okay, so if we come solution based and we're offering solutions, then why are they not receiving? You know, why are people not open to receiving the solutions?
Yeah.
And that, what I would like to do is like, let's, because we can go on, we can talk about PTSS and PTSD and, depression and suicide and all the rest of it. And there's a bag load of stuff that maybe over the weeks, we can delve into some, but it will definitely be solution based. So with that said, in general, what solutions do you offer when you say like, man, can I have solutions? Like, what kind of solutions are you talking about?
So the solution is your truth, innit? Like you got to tap into your truth. Like we used to do an event called The Naked Truth, and we might even bring it back after COVID. And all the naked truth is, and I'll give you an example. I remember once I was on Tottenham High Road, and like people know me in the community for what I do. You know what I'm saying? I work with young people, uplift them, and blah 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 blah. So when people come to me, they come with that energy, like, "Oh, well done, Brother Davis," and I'm just there. It's like, okay, I'm just a commentator in the conversation here. But once anyway, a guy came to me, and I know him vaguely in the community, and he was just talking, like, yeah, you're doing great things, You see the young black boys, they just need to learn to respect and blah. He was just going on literally for about 10 minutes. Bro, I swear to God, I didn't say no words. I was like, okay. I didn't say nothing because I didn't want to feed him, but I could see that he was so hungry for the conversation, And then after a while, I started getting pissed off, like literally. And when there was a break in the conversation, I asked him straight. I said, bro, like, how's your children? All of a sudden, my man didn't even want to talk. And Mackay, it's bedtime, boy. Go and brush your teeth, please. And for me, it's like, that sparked something interesting in me because you're so easy. You can commentate on the world, and you can do it with so much articulation. You can delve in, you can break down and come with dates and everything. I'm just asking you about your children because I know you got children. Like your children, why are you? You know what I mean? And there's power in those kind of questions, isn't it? I think if you ask certain questions, it shakes people's foundation. I think we're in a place now where we don't like to ask no one those real questions. We just we beat around the bush. We're not direct to say, "Oh, where's your son?" You know what I'm saying? Like, why did you do that? You know, ask direct questions. So anyway, we launched an event, I think 2017, called The Naked Truth, and we cloaked it in entertainment. So on the flyer, you'll see, yeah, it's a party. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a party, there's drink, there's music, a DJ, but hidden in there's a little debate. You know, there's a little debate and a discussion around the naked truth. Like, what is your naked truth? And again, it was encouraging people to really talk their truth. Like, my truth is not the same like your truth. Like, take a moment and think about what it is you've been running away from, or what has happened that has not been resolved, whatever it may be, you know, and being in a position to say, "Wow, I have power over it, so much power. I can talk about it because now I'm looking for solutions." If you don't talk about something, really, it's got a power, it's got a hold of you. It's like literally it's holding your mouth closed. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But anyway, did the event. When I tell you, people came in their hundreds talking their truth, so much so we couldn't even continue it after like 2 years because the amount of baggage, we didn't have no counselors in place, innit? We just thought, yeah, come and talk and then go. No, people wanted like counselors and they wanted like rules. They say they wanted real solutions, you know what I mean? But after a while, we offered them, you know, like we brought in certain specialists to come in and to speak to them, but they're not taking the advice. It's just, they're addicted to their situation, innit? You know? So long story short, yeah, we stopped doing it because it was this long. It's like, yeah, it's draining. It's draining. Like, people don't want to change. They love this shit. In a weird way. You know what I'm saying? You know, weird. I know there's a term, you know. What is it? Is it Stockholm Syndrome? Is that it? Yeah. That's what, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Do you know what I'm saying? People addicted to this shit, boy. You know what I mean? And I saw it with my own 2 eyes. You're there on stage crying, and then you get the support afterwards. People all around you, "Oh, you done so well, great. You're so brave, you're amazing. Take my..." We're connecting with the person afterwards now to find out, yeah, like, what's happening, man? Like, the same old shit. But you made a big declaration on stage, you know what I'm saying? Like, what happened? What happened? You know, oh, yeah, you know. Yeah, people just don't want to change the page, innit? That's why like transformation is so important, man. You know, like, you know, being able to transform yourself, not like grow wings or horns or anything, but knowing that like Monday you was this person, Tuesday you're someone totally different, but your core is still the same. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, who you are, like your essence won't change. You know what I mean? Because that's divine, innit? And that's between you and whatever it is that you believe. Do you know what I'm saying? Whatever consciousness or God or whatever. But people need to be able to look at you, or you need to look at yourself and say, "Wow, I've grown," and that growth is recognizable. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's, for me, that's what transformation is. Do you know what I mean? It's you just stepping into your greatness, your bliss, your moment, and you staying there for as long as possible. Do you know what I'm saying?
For real. And what comes in mind there? You meant like with addictions. You mentioned addictions. A segue for me, but I've got another question I want to ask you before I get to this one as well. But addictions, it's like, all right. So it's like I'm trying to get to the root, innit? The solution. So it's like, all right. So they're addicted to this shit, basically, the trauma, the baggage, and the conversations. Like, well, how do you break habits then, innit? How do you break that shit? You know, and I've looked at that for my own self. You know, just in the essence of, you know, like. Because that's basically based on things that you desire or your lack of desire for things, for change and all the rest of it. And where does that come from? Where does your drive for desire or lack of desire, what is that root? How can you shift or work with that? And I'm doing that consciously, and I know that's not easy, let alone if you don't know that you've got this challenge, and you know, and you've got to go in there and say, "Oh, I'm an alcoholic, innit? I just realized, let me go to AA." Like, you're not even there yet. And I come to realize, and this is what made me think of this question that I want to ask you, because I've come to an understanding. It's like, oh, so, you know, you used the term earlier on programming, you know, like the programming or the spells that people are under, and it kind of makes sense to me why people respond a certain way, rather than I don't understand why they are robots, basically, because that's what the programming suggests you should become.
Yeah.
The spell that.
Spell of Leviathan.
Yeah, all of that, mate. So we went into that. We went into that space and was discussing all of that, and just like how it was broken down and delivered was perfect for us to break that spell and within ourselves, but ultimately understanding the powers or the forces that be that want to continue to keep us in those places. So I'm saying that to say that I think I've become aware of work that you can do on yourself that allows you to create desire for yourself to get yourself back to where you need to get back to. There's psychological and physical things you can do to work on that. Makai, teeth brushed, yeah? Nice.
Yeah, you got manhood in the morning, man. So go bed, please.
In the morning, but it's not in the morning though.
It's not. Tomorrow morning, yes.
Okay, you should have said that before.
All right, cool. Good night, yeah.
Say good night to my monkey.
Good night, monkey. Bye. Yes.
Give him a kiss, Dave. Give him a kiss and a hug. Good night, man. Nice. What was I saying? Basically, where we lack our desires or where it's required to get ourselves back to where we need to get back to be at our best, or even as far as the habits, how you break habits or all these addictions. It's just like we're addicted to the habits of trauma and so forth and love repeating those cycles. And I don't want to go there just now, but basically, bro, as you know, for the last handful of years, I've been on this kind of psychedelic, banner and flying the flag for our community. And, one of the most indigenous plants that you find in Africa is known just for that, breaking bad habits, psychological and pathological problems. And in my humble opinion, that's why you don't find these things back home when these groups of people who use these plants use them, because it's a preventative measure. It's not even medicine. You don't need to be cured. You don't need medicine. It's preventing you from becoming this thing that you become once you go through this programming or this support that they put you through, kind of thing, and what that's all about. And I do want to touch on psychedelics because I'm just asking everybody in general, what's psychedelics to you and what does it mean and all the rest of it. But I want to ask you the same question I was asked earlier on and just share some files. Give me 3 influential books, bro. We'll just go right like this. And I was giving it just like that. I didn't have time to think about it. But I was giving me 3 influential books that you would encourage people to check out because it made you check something out or whatever.
Yeah. The first one straight from Message to the Black Man.
Okay.
I think that was Elijah Muhammad. I think. Yeah.
Very much so.
That was the first one. The second one was Nutricide.
Okay.
That's Layla Africa. And the third one, I don't know the name of the author, but it's called Without Sanctuary.
Okay.
Yeah, so with the first one, A Message to the Black Man, I remember when I read it, I've never been a reader growing up anyway, but when I read it, I think that's one of my first books that I've read. I could say I bought and I read, first book. I remember reading it, I'm just like, wow, like, this is I've never seen the word black man used so much in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just thought black man is this, he's God. And it was a new language to me, innit? That was a new language. And I found it like, wow. Now you've introduced it, I want to know more, innit? And it was a very explicit language. So there was you didn't have to read in between the lines. You didn't even have to think about it. It was like a program that was just telling you, this is who you are, this is what you're supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? And for me, it was a great introduction into I think if I read a different book, it wouldn't definitely, it might have had a different impact in it. Who knows? But with this one, it done its job in it. Like, it made me inquire. It made me ask the question, wow, I've been going to church all this year, but I'm a God. Huh? What are you talking? So again, that's that little inquirer inside of me wanted to seek more. But anyway, that was the first.
What point in time in life was that? Did you read that book? Where was you in life?
So I was at uni, so 99, 98, 96, 97, 98, around that period.
Okay,
So yeah, I was like early 20s, isn't it? Early 20s. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So
And I
message
think
to Black Man Elijah Muhammad.
yeah, and during that period, that's when I started asking myself, like, who am I? Prior to that, I just had no, like, I could have been anything. You know, them one there, like, literally, I could have been anything. Which is, we say it to young people, yes, you could be anything that you want. That's kind of dangerous as well. You know what I mean? Because you've opened that Pandora's box. You know what I'm saying? And they could become, you know, amazing, or they could become a dead. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's one of those things. So even then, I had no grounding in it. When you're saying to someone you could be anything, like, what is your foundation? Different context, but that's how I saw it. The second book was Nutricide, and yeah, it just exploded my world of food, bro. It's just like when I read it, everything I thought I knew about food, it was just like, psh, like, why am I eating breakfast? Why am I doing this? Why am I drinking milk? Why am I drinking? I'm just like, what the hell? You know what I mean? It was another program. All these things I noticed, it just shattered my program, innit? Like, literally, it shattered. It was very explicit, very black and white, and it just challenged. I love reading books here that make you sit there and say, you ask yourself that question and you have a dialogue with yourself, and then you realize, wow, you actually, I've been had. That's the conclusion you should get to, innit? To the point where you ask yourself, like, they're mugging me off. Like, am I a dickhead? Who you think you are? You know what I'm saying? That's what literature had done to me. Do you know what I mean? So I read that, and the third book was Without Sanctuary. The book is like a graphical. I don't know what made me buy it, you know, but it's a graphical book where there lots of images about black people getting lynched, white people standing there, big smiles on their faces, celebrating, all the postcards, and all it was is it's a book of lynchings, and then on one side you got the image, and on the other side you got the narrative, what happened.
Okay.
Jeez. So that shattered the program of, yo, like, this system likes you. You know, it shattered it, bro. Like, deep book.
Got you.
You know?
So
And it
you
made me
can't
realize,
remember the author of that book, but the Nutricide, who was the author of it?
Layla Africa.
I'm aware he recently made a transition.
Yeah.
He was a legend, you know, big fish in the game for dropping the knowledge and the information for health liberation. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You know, so yeah, those three books were definitely program breakers, man.
Okay.
Antivirus.
Yeah, man, I feel you. Well, one of my books, I won't go into it now, but it's only because I know you could relate to it, and it's a segue to, you know, another part of our journey. So one of the three books that I chose that was an influential book was The Holy Tablets.
Yeah, that's up there. Is up there. That is up there.
That was one of my three. I think the day that I was gifted that, you know, I'd flicked through it before, but I was gifted my own copy. I think the day that I got that, I never looked back, you know, as in the sense of the leads, the research potential, the information that was in there, you know, it was just like an amazing storybook. It was an amazing reference book. It was an amazing visual graphical book. You know, there was so much to it. And I'm aware that, you know, and, you know, I was with Maya earlier on, we were talking about recording and touching on it, and she had, you know, connections with the organizations and stuff, and that during, you know, around the same kind of times. So what I'm asking you is just, you know, basically, you know, obviously, well, not obviously, the Holy Tablets was produced by, at that time, I think they was under the ban of HTM, Holy Tabernacle Ministries, by Malachi Z. York. I remember at that time I had, you know, connections with Nation of Islam, who you've mentioned, you know, not affiliated by being an official member, but just community affiliate. You had organizations like the Pan-African Congress Movement and others, as well as the Asura Set Society, you name it. There's an endless list of quite a few influential organizations and groups, you know, in the community. So outside of books, can you share any influences of organizations or any movers and shakers as well? Just, you know, key figures that have inspired you also.
Yeah, outside the ones that you've mentioned, organizations. there's only one that comes to mind. I'm just sifting through my memory. Yeah, there's only one outside of what you've mentioned. Yeah, just one. The organization was called Involve. Yeah, so it's a charity still.
Where were they based?
They're based in Green Gate, Plaistow,
Yeah,
London.
I remember them.
Yeah, and they did a lot of work in the community, similar to the work that I do now, to be honest. But they had a program, and the program was called RAW, RAW. Yeah. Have you ever been to one of those?
Yeah, man, back in the days.
Yeah, you
Up
know.
on Greengate, Barking Road.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was powerful about this space, like I've never been involved in, normally you go to these meetings, whatever, and then like all the organizations you spoke to is like you have the the professor at the front, or the lecturer, and then you sit down and you listen and you take notes. You might ask one or two questions, and then you go home. You know what I mean? Like it was a lecture, or study group, whatever. With this program, it kind of turned the whole dynamic where no one's talking to you. You're the one that's talking for starters, so your voice is important, and you're encouraged to look within. So no one's giving you information. You're sharing your experiences. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So there I am. I remember I went to my first one, and there's maybe, let's say, 15, 18 black people in a room, all sitting in a circle, just talking, like similar to what we're doing now. Obviously there was a facilitator there, but you didn't know who the facilitator was because you're sitting in a circle, innit? So you're like, wow, but who's who? You know what I mean? I'm being guided, but I don't know by who. And the conversations were, what does it mean to be black or something like that? And it was, wow, it was profound. It was deep. And it was refreshing seeing black people allowing themselves to talk about some real issues without being too intellectual or running away from it. You know what I mean? That they were confronted to speak about these things. And for me, that's where, again, that marker, like throughout your life, you got your certain markers, like, yeah, that's when that happened. That's when that happened, So that was definitely a marker that, so that was definitely a marker that taught me that, wow, we have to make that inward journey, and sometimes you need that person there just to ask those questions and to really push you. Otherwise, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's the organization anyway, Involved.
Cool, man. And that leads me to think now, just like youth clubs, I was saying earlier on, youth clubs used to have, a role and a place in the community, and they actually, back in the days, I say like they would, for the most part,
before you go there, 1 second, I'm coming,
Yeah.
Give me 2 minutes.
All right, I'll do it.
Huh? What? No, that's not. Maybe. Yaga.
Give me 1 minute as well, bro.
Make sure you wash your hands.
Yaga, yo.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, what was man saying? So basically what I was getting at, or where I was trying to get to, talking slot, was basically, what is the role of organizations? Is there a need for organizations anymore? Is there a role for organizations?
No,
What
man.
place do they play? Like, what's going on?
No, man, I
Because
don't.
there used to be many back in the days, and there's a one or two still about, but do they serve us well? Is there a place for them? What do you feel?
I feel, yeah, and this is where a lot of people don't like me, because when no, like I just speak my truth, innit, or my truth at the time, and there's just too many organizations, fam. I remember when I was growing up, there was none. I didn't remember not any when I was a youth. Do you know what I'm saying? All I remember is youth club. That's it. I remember youth club.
Cubs or Scouts.
Yeah, and yeah, I remember there was youth clubs and there was mentors. Like that was it. I don't remember no organized. You know what I'm saying? Like now it's being pushed. Look, I'm wearing. It's being pushed in our faces, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And straight away it's like one of the reasons why. Yeah, when that person like was talking to me and I was like getting annoyed and I just really like asking that question is because I thought like you're not been talking to me. You're just talking about issues. Like talk to me, fam. Like you see this conversation here. It's like we're talking to each other, innit? And one second, let me just. I need to make a payment, yeah. But give me 1 second, yeah. Hold on. 1 second. You know when someone texts you saying, "Oh, here's my bank details," and they said it for the second time. I can't let it be for a third time, man. Like that's just not the one.
Fair enough, man.
Yeah. Before you know it, you're getting the tags on Facebook or whatever.
Yeah, bailiffs at your door.
Yeah, innit? But growing up, because I felt like he wasn't talking to me, innit? I just felt like he was just talking around me, talking about issues, and I just find that like I just don't like all that, man. There's way too many organizations. So when I meet someone for the first time, they ask, "Yeah, what do you do?" I'm just like, like, do you not find that weird, bro? Like straight away they want to find out like who do you work for, what organized. Like, I'm here, fam. Like,
what's your favorite color?
Yeah, just like let's break bread, man. Let's get to know each other. And I've made that mistake in the past where I've met someone and I've not asked them those questions. I just see, yeah, we believe in the same struggle. Yeah, let's work together. Nah, fam, like that's not how it works around here no more. You know what I mean? I need to know who you are. Who are you? What's your favorite color? What's your influences? And like tell me about you. People don't like to do that no more. You ask I love when they ask young people about, tell us about your favorite gang, your favorite song. They go in. Okay, tell me where you want to be next year. Oh, I don't know. I've not thought about it. Huh? How do you mean you've not thought about where you want to be like next year? Next year's not even like, that's like 5 months away or whenever it is. They don't talk about those things. They're taught to talk about everything else, and that's what branding does, isn't it? Branding like takes your attention away. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, and one thing I just don't like when I meet people and they're talking about like brands and business, I'm just like, I just don't like that, because straight away there's a division. You know, you see, like when you spoke to the person in the park the other day, in London Fields, you just connect like human on human. That's it. No agenda. Well, even if you've got an agenda, that's fine. But the fact is, you're not trying to register no one. You're not trying to. No, you're just connecting. You know, and I feel that we've lost that. No, I know we've generally lost that connection, because now everyone's thinking about how can this benefit my brand? How can I use this as leverage to, you know what I mean? And it's just the way the world's gone now, man. You know. So so this organization that I make reference to, bro, I think we can do with none of them at all. Like literally, like scrap every single one of them. Yeah, let's get a council. Let's put people in tribes. You know what I mean? You know, let's get a council of elders, and like let's just have a government, like one government. You know, one system. And if people don't like it, like leave, innit? You know?
Like, you know, I feel you. I'm gonna keep it honest. I feel you, but at the same time, I didn't expect to hear that from you this evening. Just as, you know, direct as you can, because if I just take key words you've just said there, I just think, oh, that sounds like New World Order, man. Sounds like Illuminati stuff, bro. Like we just have one and that's what it is, and you know, that's what's that about?
Well, sometimes you need that unity, innit? It's like, you know, when you spoke to my son earlier, he said that he's watching Naruto, innit? Yeah, and I love cartoons, you know. And I remember like you bust one of the cartoons were like back in the day, like Avatar, Airbender. Yeah, and you got the different nations, innit? Like, I know I can only resonate with certain people that vibrate, so like that's on my nation, innit? I can't vibrate with everyone. I have to force myself to do it, but not naturally. All of us are from different places, innit? Even though we're all the same, but we resonate. So form your tribe based on who you resonate with. Yeah. Once you got your little tribe, your little network, you know, that's not about branding. It's about your nature. Do you know what I'm saying? Like your interests and so on and so forth. Then, in my opinion, and I think it's so easy, it can so easily be done, just based on social media and everything else. Once you've got that, do you know what I'm saying? Then it's not even about you branding yourself a company, but you become a nation in yourself, innit? Do you know what I'm saying? So you can have multiple nations, but then you got an agreement. Do you know what I'm saying? That takes it somewhere else, you know. But ultimately, in this day and time, I just think once you got, because I know a lot of people, yeah, and it's sad because everyone that I know, none of them are working together the way it should be done. They're kind of competing. They're not complementing each other. It's individuals. Do you know what I mean? They're only individuals because of the brand. You know what I mean? So maybe what people need to start doing is start rephrasing or reframing the way they look at themselves, and start presenting themselves first, and start looking to serve each other, as opposed to saying, oh, what can I get from you? Like, that's very capitalistic as well. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So it might sound a bit like New World Order-ish, but boy, like what we're doing now, bro, is not working in it. Like, there's a relationship between, or correlation between the amount of organizations we've got and how worse the situation is got, you know, that we're in, if you want to look at it from a political sense, you know. We've got way too many organizations. Things ain't getting better, they're getting worse. The kids are getting worse, if you want to look at it statistically, you know, if you want to use that as their barge pole as worse, you know, whether it's mental health or exclusion or like everything is getting worse, mental health, everything's getting worse, but we've got the most organizations ever. Like, so do the maths, innit? You know, something's not working.
Yeah, I was asked the same question yesterday or the day before, and I'm just throwing it out there as well. You know, in response, I was like, you know, I feel like, in fact, there is a place for organizations if they're using the right model. And my thing was like, currently, the organizations who are in place, I don't think have the models that are fit for purpose. I think that's what the problem is. But organizing, whether it's collectively, individually, you're organizing your mind, you know, there's a requirement for that. But what's currently being used, I love the watermelon a bit, bro. It's not serving us, you know, it's not working for us. And I looked at it, it's like, well, maybe that's because, you know, we're using models given to us by people who use the models to not work for us. And we're using these models, you know, trying to build and create with models that are basically not natural to us. You know, we have a way of viewing a perspective of things. So whether it be, you know, oh, we're going to march, we're going to vote, that may not be the way that serves us well. That may not be the model that we culturally use in addressing, solving our problems. You know what I'm saying? And as long as we keep using these other models and other blueprints and maps, like, we're going to be making the same mistakes. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, it's my little segue, unless you've got anything to add, to one of my solutions that I'm, you know, been talking loud about, is this whole psychedelic thing.
Yeah, so check it now, and it definitely relates to the it will definitely add as a segue, because when you check it, yeah, one of the thing about branding is about reputation, isn't it? Yeah, it's about your perception. We're living in a world now where how you're perceived by others is very important. Do you get what I'm saying? So you have to be seen to be saying the right things. You have to be seen to doing the right things and so on, because it's going to affect your brand reputation. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, one of the things is, what happens if you are representing a brand, but you want to tell the truth, but it's going to damage the brand?
Yeah.
Now you're in a situation, isn't it?
It's interesting you said that, bro, but go on, remind me.
Yeah. So now you have a lot of like prominent figures in our community who are they are well respected, they are influencers in their own right, but because they're heading a brand, they're not telling the truth, you know, because of the impact that it will have, and how people just won't like them, you know, because you're outing people, whatever it may be, you know. So telling the truth is not cool anymore, because like people just have to stay quiet and let's just get along and play the branding game. That's what it's all about, you know.
Got you. That's interesting you say that, because I spoke about that this afternoon, and then it was inspired by a clip that I was listening to last night before I retired. And do you know the comedian Patrice O'Neil?
Black.
Yeah, rest in power as well, another one, you know. Yeah. But yeah, really powerful, really, you know, at the same time could be considered controversial. But he's got, interestingly enough, a conversation / interview that took place with him and Ludacris, the rapper. And it's interesting you said it, because of a lot of stuff that's come up recently, but it was exactly that. What all I can say, it was actually titled Patrice O'Neil versus Ludacris. what Patrice O'Neil was actually getting at during this conversation and post in conversation was that basically, because Ludacris came in there, he's like, well, first and foremost, you guys need to refer to me as Chris Bridget, or, you know, whatever, I don't know his last name is, you know, Chris, whatever it is. And I was like, Luda, boom, boom, boom. He's like, nah, I'm not Ludacris tonight, innit? Ludacris is my character when I'm rapping, and when I'm acting, I'm Chris, you know, whatever his last name is. And they're like, all right, cool, whatever, kind of thing. And then, you know, they're conversating. But throughout the conversation, you know, Patrice is touching on things like relevant stuff that has come up. And he's basically skipping, you know, trying to skip past the answers. And Patrice, like, calls him out, bro. He, like, really calls him out on the show and then post the interview. Because where it all come down to is a question he asked about Oprah, where Oprah must have, and this is going back years, it's not even a fresh thing, this is like real old news. But it's about the principle. And the principle was that, you know, Oprah must have said some shit about him and his guys. And Patrice just asked him, you know, directly, like, what do you think and feel about certain things? And, you know, he wasn't comfortable in answering. And when he did, he just said the right things. And then that's when Patrice was like, get the hell out of here, man. Like, you're on something, like, you've been rehearsing, you've gone to their school and learned to say the right things. When you come up in here, you're giving us those training answers. But we need the real you, we want the real, because at the end of the day, I know Luda from ATL, boom, 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 blah, blah, blah. And that's what's going to resonate with me. Once I see this, you know, image, you know, that I know is being manufactured, you know, it doesn't resonate. So this comes back to, you know, like saying the tribes and the groups and speaking up. And I feel that we're all out here trying to work it out. Like, within, it wasn't a versus thing, it was just the principle of what, you know, what I saw. And I've been in both of those shoes, no different from, you know, if you worked in schools and stuff like that, and
exactly,
you know, students ask you stuff and you got to kind of, I want to tell you the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. But at the same time, I've got to build that relationship with you. There's only so much, when it doesn't, if it does get back to particular teachers, and you've got the DBS officers and you've got this going on, you know, there was a lot there. So I kind of get it. But yeah, when do we step up and step out and say, well, fuck the badge that, you know, these people have given me, or the, you know, like, it's about liberating, you know, yourself and your people at the end of the day. And yeah, these groups, these organizations, you know, they have had a role. And I think, yeah, we need to look at, you know, some new models. And, you know, I'm looking at people like the Manhood Academy and others that I've worked with, that I know of, as, you know, because we're the generation, the last of our current generation who like, are on this, you know, are prepared to, you know, pick the baton up and move forward with it. So it was really clear that, yeah, let's not make the same mistakes as these previous organizations. It might be just that, like not setting up as an organization, structured in a way where we've got a chairman, we've got a secretary, you know, like where does that come from? You know, where do those models come from? You know, is that how we really think? Is that what our psyche is patterned off? You know what I'm saying? And like maybe we need to go back, thank God for to know where we need to go. You know, that's it. But as I mentioned, the whole psychedelic thing comes up for me in every area. I can't get away from it, and I push it all the angles, simply because as a rites of passage, I've come to find out that it's played a big part in indigenous cultures all around the world. As I said, I've seen it as a preventative measure for mental health and all the other challenges that we face, you know, depression and suicide. You know, it's played a key role in, you know, in supporting us cultures in dealing with that. And in the here and now, we've got this psychedelic renaissance, you know, where, you know, European doctors and scientists have rediscovered psychedelics. They're calling it the third wave. You can jump on Netflix right now. There's a brand new documentary. It's, you know, all over the place. People are talking about this stuff. Psychedelics is pioneering the way for mental health, this, that, and the other. And, you know, myself, Kalinde, and others, for years, you know, more than myself, have been like, okay, well, we get it, but at the same time, this is nothing new. It's been done before, it's especially by indigenous cultures who have an understanding of it, but we've been kind of not acknowledged or recognized. And not that me personally, I'm looking for any acknowledgement or recognition from anybody in that regards, but I do feel that, you know, there's once again, I'm seeing, you know, cutting and pasting, you know, photoshopping, you know, on cultures and on practices, and people trying to twist stuff and tailor it and rebrand it, you know, so to speak. So with that said, I'm just heading in that direction of what the hell do you think about psychedelics? What do you know of the current trend or wave? What are your thoughts, feelings? Is this something that you're comfortable with, uncomfortable with, not sure about, need to know more about? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean. And that's one of those questions that if you was to ask that in a public forum, yeah, there'll be a lot of negative comment. You know what I'm saying? And I look at those things, you know, even through my growth, like, and my development as a young man, I started to realize that the things that people don't want to talk about, that's what they should talk about, you know? And that's like truth 101, you know? If you want to start talking about the truth, then it's the things that you don't want to talk about, like, that's what we should be dealing with if you want to transform or if you want to improve your life or whatever it may be. Do you know what I mean? One of the things is money, for instance. Like, a lot of people don't like talking about money because it's maybe a reflection of your worth and how much you made and blah, blah, blah. So you have financial literacy and, you know, all of those forums, like that space is now transforming where people are now openly talking about, yeah, this is how much I've got, this is how much I've made now, or, you know what I mean? Or you got rich dad, poor dad. So there's a whole, that area has been like blowing up, innit? 1 second. Oi, Makai, go bed, man. Yeah, the area's been blowing up, you know, and there's other areas, you know, like with mental health, you have people publicly. What documentary was I watching? I think it was like Rio Ferdinand, you know, the footballer. Yeah, sad story. Still, like, his wife died of cancer, and he's raising his children, and he's got a new wife now, and he was just talking about his emotional turmoil that he's been going through, like how stressful he's been, and of course, like, he's lost his wife, innit, his best friend. And you could see his pain through his eyes. You know what I'm saying? You know, they will happily put that on TV. Like, that's no problem there, innit? You know, like, bare views. But when you're talking about other things now that stimulate a different part of the psyche, like psychedelics, get shut down. And for me, I find it interesting. Like, why? You can put sex there. There's porn, like all these things that people openly talk about when it's psychedelic. Shh, don't talk about that. Why not? I actually don't know why. Like, literally, I don't know why. I understand why cannabis is made illegal. You know, I know its history and so on and so forth. I don't know explicitly, but I know the key markers as to like, yeah, why it's been criminalized. Do you know what I'm saying? And what the war is on and so on. And so I get that. So I can see it. Yeah, it makes sense. But when it comes to psychedelics now, I actually don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? But what I do know is through like the experiences that I've had, you know, is just like that is definitely contributed to how I am now, 100%. Do you get what I'm saying? It's made me detach from, yeah, this shell that kind of imprisoned me in it, you know, or that shell, or you can call it a program. Do you know what I mean? And that's another program, a program buster, you know, yeah, like psychedelics. So I personally feel, especially now, like it's like full circle in it. So now I'm here talking about like, number one, I'm talking about vegan food. Yeah. So that means everything from nature, you need to be utilizing, like everything. If you're saying you're plant-based, do you discriminate as a vegan? You know, it's a question I have with some people who are on the frequency, innit? And by frequency, I mean that we can talk freely and there's no like restrictions or judgment, whatever, we just talk. And yeah, there's vegans out there that discriminate. You know what I mean? They'll eat everything from nature, but I won't eat mushrooms. Why are you allergic to it? No, man. Like I don't want to have a trip. Huh? Like, but you smoke weed. Like I don't understand. You know. So yeah, man. I kind of lost my trail, but yeah, people need to go in and say, yeah. So full circle now. So we're talking about manhood now, innit? And I know if you're gonna go through in the woods for months at end, yeah, with a group of men, I know that there's herbs involved in it, you know, because them telling you that you need to, like every rites of passage that I've realized, yeah, or I've researched, all of them have like commonalities to it, you know, and one of the like all rites of passage, for instance, you know, there's a separation involved, like they separate you from your family. Fact, every single one, you know, whether it's even if it's street gang, they'll separate you, like the street will take you away from your mum and involve you in whatever. There's no different to indigenous rites of passage. And another important feature is you facing like there's different terms used, like some call it facing the abyss, some people call it entering the cave, like call it what you want, you know what I'm saying? But it means that you're going into yourself, you know? And when people hear it, you might look at it at face value. Like, how does that work? Do you sit there and do you have conversations? Like, you know, like how do you face yourself? You know what I mean? To have those transformational experiences that ensures that you remain balanced in the community, you know? And when you delve a little deeper, you realize that, yeah, like there's plants involved. Do you know what I'm saying? That create that lifts the veil, you know, that makes them see things differently, you know, and it's done in a constructive manner. That's something that's never spoken about, you know. And even when I try and present it, you know, because now I'm very much into this rights, and not this rights of passage into, yeah, you being a man, but you just being bloody awesome. Like when you're watching films, like every superhero they go through their shit. Like they have to go
through the hero's journey.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? You know, so even when you're looking at that model, for instance, you know, like every single character goes through that. Do you know what I mean? But obviously they won't put the psychedelic, it's a film in it, you know. But when you take it into real life, you know, and you're trying to construct or manufacture that hero, what things do you put in place to simulate that cave, or for you to say, yeah, you're gonna face your abyss, face your demons, or whatever the case is. And yeah, it's an area that is definitely needed, because like I said, everything that is being done is not working. It's not literally, things are getting worse. So there needs to be intervention, and it needs to be nothing needs to be created because it's already there, because you just have to go back, you know. So look at what they used to do. And where I'm at now with the whole rites of passage is about, I'm not suggesting that young boys should be taking anything, What I am saying is, if you're going to be legitimizing that word rites of passage, you need to be aligned to the practices, be aware of what they did, and give people that choice. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's about giving people that choice, not robbing them of that experience.
Yeah, I feel you on that, definitely. Okay, nice. Thank you for sharing, bro. And that's basically, I'm not going to say nothing much on it because that's what I do and talk a lot about. But what I will highlight is that, there is, ancient practices and cultures and ones present right now on the continent of Africa. So, if people, so one of my goals throughout of all of this is basically for us to be able to have mature conversations about this. That I can't just bring up and say the word psychedelics like, shh, don't talk about it. Or, are you serious? You can't be serious. It's like, why not? And, and because of the way it's either this scientific thing or this, white hippie thing or trendy thing at the moment, that I'm seeing on Netflix, we might miss the boat. That, in the fact that this is something that indigenous cultures, in particular African, who we call African people today, brought to the table. They're the practitioners of it and have had an unbroken link in using it in their rites of passages. You know what I'm saying? Even through colonialism and through the kidnapping and the moving of African people around the place. And I'm aware of the work that you do, and obviously the work that I've done with young people over the years, and I can see that, like we said, why you would manifest or create something called the Manhood Academy to produce, the pathways for young people to, become amazing, not just a man, but to become who they are, as Nas says, we're half man, half amazing. How do you discover that amazing side of yourself? And I realized that in all of these cultures, bro, you didn't have to wait till you was in your 30s or 40s having a midlife crisis with your back up against the wall, worrying about how you're going to pay your bills and how you're going to deal with your partner and your ex and the kids who want money from you, and how to all drive you up the bend to then start thinking about these kind of options. What you're given in the early stages is a mirror of yourself when you hit puberty, like you said, and detached or removed from the family and start that journey into discovering yourself. And I think that's played a key part in where I'm at now with my journey. But I had to wait till I was in my late 30s before I finally saw that how these rights pan out and what it, what it supports you in doing and discovering yourself. So with that, I'm very keen to encourage the dialogue and conversations, at least, about, well, where does this fit in the future with, the next generation that's coming through? Can we have responsible conversations about why and how this thing has been and is used in culturally for young people, like the Fulani that you find, throughout West Africa in particular, and Central Africa, whose young boys at 11, 12, 13 are going through processes of, stick fighting, they're rumbling, they're doing physical warfare, training, they're doing mental preparation, but they also have to discover and learn about the plants, and how to use the plants and what the plants are for, and how to use the plants in warfare, how to use the plants. Like, this is part of the initiation of the induction, and this is happening at 12, 11 years old. So when people suggest that it's irresponsible to suggest that young people take this and this would be part and parcel of a rites of passage or just any kind of initiation, we need to do our Googles. We really need to see that these are the same young boys I'm talking about that can pick up a machete, that can pick up a gun, and they're not going to be, messing around and trying to shoot man because they come from a different postcode for no other reason. There's a responsibility that comes with the experience that, people need to become more aware of. You only really do through having the experience, but ultimately, if you're not willing to have the experience, it's not about blocking it. It's not about, like you said, blocking people from having those experiences. So, like I said, we were just in the park today asking people the same thing, just like, what do you think about psychedelics? What have you heard about? And what, is it good, bad? You may not deal with those polarities, but just give us a perspective. And a lot of people are privy, or we're finding it's privy to what's going on. And I'm still finding that it's a younger generation of our sort that are ready for this, and the parents are the ones who are more fearful because they hold a lot of that loaded information that came with the war and drugs and all of that stuff there. So it's really important that we empower people with knowledge and information so we can just have some mature conversations. That's where I'm currently at with it. But there's some communities, some cultures that are dealing with their trauma, bro, dealing with their healing. They're way down the line and, just sorting themselves out, and I'm not watching face, I'm not getting red eye. I'm just saying that it's a model, it works, and we should not miss out on, you know, the opportunity to rediscover, you know, our true selves, our true nature, our true ways. So yeah, man, I'm just putting that one out there. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add on the
Yeah,
side.
yeah. Also, yeah. There's two things. Number one, you know, like this, like music. You were talking about music earlier, you know, and the power of music, like, and the power of words and sound. Yeah, even the term like psychedelics, it's a loaded term, you know. And I know, I don't know, is it a Greek term? Is it Greek? Is it Latin? Who knows where it came from?
Yeah, so it means to manifest the psyche,
Okay,
psychedelic, yeah.
okay. And see, like, people don't even know that, innit? They just hear, when they hear that word straight away, they are given like images and so on and so forth. Do you know what I mean? And maybe like the introduction of a different term, or more indigenous term, whatever that term is. Do you know? Just to broker that conversation, because this conversation needs to be had in it. You know, it needs to be had on a mainstream level, for our people. And that leads me to the second point I was going to make. You know, and that's how, you know, when people say it takes a village to raise a child, yeah. But so imagine you got a village that's raised a child. What about the village over there? You know what I mean? What about the other villages? You know, so it takes a combination of villages. Do you know what I'm saying? To raise a nation. So it's about the child. It's about the nation, isn't it? So, and the only way for me, yeah, the only way that I can see us progressing as a people is when someone comes with an idea or concept. Automatically you should be thinking, how can I merge this into what I'm doing? So you create that, you know, you got the bees and a pollen, like that cross fertilization, you know. That's how it should be. So with what you're saying now, do you know what I mean? What capitalists will say is, yeah, that's a great idea. Let me read the book on mushrooms and let me do it for myself. Like, that's what capitalism teaches. You know what I mean? The way it should be is, brother, what you're on is 100% on the money, just because of my limited understanding, you know. And I can see how it could directly influence the young people and the industry that I'm in right now. Like, I can see it, like, with young people up and down the country selling, like, they're suicidal, bro. Like, when you sit there, forget the actions, forget the knives and the guns, or, you know, sitting in crack houses in Cardiff. When you listen to their story, bro, it goes back to the cartoons like Naruto, like where the characters are saying like their heart's broken, you know what I mean? Or there's a hole in their heart. That's all these cartoons talk about. There's a hole in his heart. They need to go into the dark side. Da, da, da. Like, their hearts are broken, fam. That's heart disease, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And how do you deal with that? Like, boy, what you're suggesting, it's not even what you're suggesting, what the ancestors suggested, you know, it works. Because all I know is when I went to Gambia, I see bare people happy. And not to say that they're on anything, but there's something that's been prevented. You know what I'm saying? What has been put there that's prevented them, no matter where you go in the motherland, what has been put there that's prevented them from saying, that person's depressed, that person's got mental, like, I've not heard that. I've been to Gambia, what, 2-3 times. Not once I've heard the word depression, and I've been in there. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not to say it doesn't exist, but I'm saying, like, the narrative does not exist the way it exists over here in the UK. You know, so definitely
Where we got it all. We're supposed to be where it's all, you know, where everything is amazing. So how the hell are we suffering from things that so-called third world countries and so forth are not you know, not having to address and deal with in the way that we are, and that us not even being able to deal with it. You know, so again, I'm not saying that psychedelics is the be all and end all, it's the only way. You know, I really suggest through my experiences in working in horticulture that the forest will make you happy. If you go back to why these people are happy, because they're fucking connected to nature. You know, like, it's like the simple things in life, you know, that we've been detached from, you know, and been given alternative technology mainly as a distraction. So, you know, it's real simple things that we could do to reconnect. Like, as I said, everyone doesn't need to do psychedelics, but everybody needs to get out in the woods. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be like, get outdoors, you know, get outside, touch the soil, hug a tree, yeah, do all that type of stuff. Like, it does mean it will serve you well, you know what I'm saying? In the short as well as long term. And as I said, I learned that through simply bringing up these Hackney students, bringing them up to Chingford, you know, bringing youth from South London, bringing them up to Chingford, and that whole journey, them entering the woods and being, you know, 10 again, when they was big bad boy, whoever it was from East or from South East London, representing whatever ends they're representing, to where they're fascinated by butterflies, fascinated by flowers, you know, just reconnecting them with their true selves, you know, which is nature. So again, not forcing psychedelics down anybody's throat, but again, if we're looking for, like you mentioned, a transformational, like we've been waiting so long, we've been trying all of these ways, then why the hell wouldn't we try something that has been served testimony for thousands of years as to what they give young boys and young girls in their way of coming out? And these young boys and girls in their cultures and communities are, you know, bloody pillars, you know what I'm saying? And represent well and serve the community well. And like, they're not druggies, they're not, you know, off their face, raving every weekend, you know, so like, it's just educate yourself, man.
It's in their blood. And the thing is, yeah, if you don't give those experiences to these kids, yeah, to the youth, they'll find those experiences somewhere else, innit? So it's like you can't prevent it, you know what I'm saying? So if you look at there's a spike in like extreme sports, you know what I'm saying, and like create like people. I was watching on YouTube a video of some youths in Russia or something. Cause like, bro, there must be like 1,000 feet up in the air on a crane. It's like standing in air, like I'm just like, fam, are you mad? Like, bro, I was emotional watching it. I'm just like, what are you thinking? Like, you could die. But they're chasing that feeling. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, like whatever that feeling is, and maybe they can't get it on this physical realm. You know what I mean? They might have to go somewhere, and they're just like people that might mountain climbers. Like it's a spite everywhere you go. Like risky behavior in it. Like you can coin it. Even if the young people I listen to, risky. Like I listen to them, I'm like, fam, like, are you mad? Like that's the only, like, are you crazy? But when you listen to it, yes, he is crazy, isn't it? Like he is. He needs something and he can't get it nowhere else, and they don't even understand. Just like people listen to music and they don't understand, like, why am I dance? They don't understand these things, you know. And like that's a passage is like encompasses all of that, like that education, but also yeah, like them being in tune with it, man.
No, most def. Well, yeah, man. I guess
And also as well, like there's sorry to cut you as well. Like there's a responsibility for individuals like yourself, you know, in this age of like fake, like alternative facts. You know, you got alternative facts or fake truths and all that kind of rubbish. Propaganda's on the next level now. Do you know what I mean? And it's crazy when I listen to like their lies that's being told, you know, and all of the confusion. And we have to start like being pillars of truth, where we kick down doors and say, just like you've done, in it, like you've gone to certain events, do you know what I'm saying, like the American Convention, and you've represented, you know, but you know that, yeah, the real challenge is kicking down our door in our community, and whether people want to hear it or not, and bro, like I'm behind you, innit? Like you got people behind you, do you know what I'm saying? But whether people want to hear it or not, like you have to respect this truth. Don't ignore it. And that's what happens too often. Like we want to pick and choose. It's like we have to look at everything and give people that choice to say, yes, this is a viable option. If it's not that, try that. Have you considered this? And psychedelics, whatever name you want to call it, yeah, to definitely be in that conversation, do you know what I'm saying? And not a dirty secret, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you, man. Respect for that, respect. Well, yeah, man, that's the mission, that's the move, you know, one of them at least. And, you know, we as we see, you know, we have many tools and technologies and the ways that we can approach it. And everything, you know, it's not necessarily one for all, you know, as in one process that will suit everybody. So it goes back to co-creating, you know, for the therapists out there to do what they do and maybe look into psychedelics as a modality for their healing thing. And, you know, and it may not be for other people, you know, and it's just kind of like, as I said, let's be able to just have those honest, open, mature conversations about it and see where it fits into taking people back to, you know, Gambia or the Gabon and having a traditional ceremony, or whether it's just like the guys over here and in Europe are talking about setting up these clinics and centers and offering services where you can go and get, you know, get your shit sorted out basically through psychedelics. There's different ways it could be done, as I said, and sometimes it's just like you've done, you know, just taking the young people. I'm taking them to Chingford, brother, and seeing what's happening. Let them on the Gambia, you know what I'm saying? I just get them out the hood, innit? Get them out of the back, and you'll see the transformation take place. So, you know, with that said, bro, you know, I think we've done a good few hours now, man. And there's still loads that I'm yet to cover, you know, as far as stuff, triggers of history in the past that I would like to weave in, you know, because there's key players that I know, influencers and people that we know and things that are happening, you know, in our life. And we can, you know, document and discuss it, you know, like even the other day, you know, just the subject of, you know, growing up in the area that we grew up in. I mentioned it to these guys in London Fields, like, yeah, I grew up in Glasgow, like, Glasgow's a shithole, it's racist, it's like this, and all these. I was like, bloody, is that how you view it? It's like, you know, so, you know, with some other people, I just been discussing things like, you know, growing up in London, bro, growing up as a black man, you know, in London, going through what you've come through, getting to where you're at now, and what's that experience like? You know, I just want to talk about basically, bro. So I'm hoping that you're open to reconnecting again and we can build and talk on a range of other different bits and pieces as well.
Yeah. Have you, quickly as well, have you heard of a organization or movement called Boys in the Woods?
Boys in the Woods? No, I haven't.
Okay, because I just made it up. So, and when you was talking about obviously like Chingford, and I was just reminiscing when we took like the young boys, not even forget Gambia for a minute, but we took them on a residential, and that we was just in the woods, you know, and everyone turned off their lights on their phones and stuff, darkness, and even that in itself was powerful. Just stay there and just listen to the trees. No, it's not a monster. Like, listen, just, like they were freaked out, you know. But even it could be, and I'm saying it here, do you know what I mean? This so you can timestamp it, you know. But
it's recorded and everything, so it's documented. Man can't jack it or nothing like that. It's but digital corporate, whatever it's called, man, intelligence and all that.
But I know like young people, young adults, like males, don't even have to be just males, but I'm just saying it just for the boys in the woods concept, you know? Yeah, just going to the woods and talking about wood shit, do you know what I'm saying? You know? And all stuff of that nature, you know? Because yeah, it has to be like introduced like differently, do you know what I'm saying? It can't be introduced through drugs and education because you're minimalizing it, you know what I mean? It's not it's not a drug where it doesn't live in that field, in my opinion, do you know what I mean? For me, it lives outside of there, innit? You're talking about like you're talking about technology that stabilizes communities, nations, you know, like the planet Earth, you know, that's been here before us, you know what I mean? And yeah, talking about the impact and sharing experiences and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's definitely something that I can see our young boys, and that's what you're talking about. Like, it's about merging, isn't it? So if someone's got an idea, don't think about competing. How can you complement and how can you create, those pathways? Do you know what I mean? And that's something I can definitely see for what I do with young boys, and also for the young girls that we work with as well through the Womenhood Academy. You know, they need spaces where, just go to the woods. You know what I mean? Like what's happened there, what is said there stays there. People want to smoke, let them smoke, but it's the conversation and the content, you know, off the record. Do you know what I mean? Don't ask where it is. You know what I mean? It's not for school children. You know what I mean? But for young adults who are autonomous, they can make their own decisions. You know what I'm saying?
Well, bro, you're saying that, you know, I'm at a stage in my life in my early 40s where I'm just discovering that for real. You know, I've been in the woods, spending time in the forest with the man them, you know, letting it go, you know, letting those conversations take place and just leaving it in the woods, and then being able to come back and get on with life and just realizing what a relief and release, you know, that is. So again, why do you need to wait until your 30s and 40s before you start using the technology out there, the organic technology that allows you to release those files, put them in the recycle bin, and allow me, you know, put them in the ethers and let take place what needs to take place. But what you're doing is lightening your load. And I've carried, you know, we're good at carrying that baggage, man. So yeah, boys in the woods, I like that, man.
But yeah, I can see the logo already, man.
So like, all right, I think I'll cut this out and make sure. But yeah, bro, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add. But yeah, my man was just here talking slop, and if there's anything you want to say, and definitely I want to end with letting people know, you know, where they can find out more about you, your work, and you know the rest of it. But if there's any messages, if there's any statements, any tunes people need to listen to, like, it's up to you, man.
Yeah, no, this definitely is rising up the platform and what you're doing and the intention behind it. You know, it's definitely a right. It's not been right. It's impactful. You know, you've got intentions that create impact and some that you just don't even notice the impact. Like this will definitely shift the the platform that we're on, the interface, you know. And yeah, just to keep on pushing it, you know, like as Naruto says, you know, I will never quit. It is my ninja way. So yeah, just don't quit with it, man, you know. And
I need to jump on Naruto still, because in all honesty, bro, I was hoping, because I know you've been pumping iron and that he's gonna be able to rip your top off and like his video go viral and stuff, man. And that's how man will get the numbers and shit.
yeah,
I need some of that in my life. But yeah, but like I'll be happy if you are, bro. Just like in the next few weeks, man, we just do it again, and you know, just let me know when you've got time and I've got time, and then you know we can increase, you know, the vibrations, man. You know, I'm getting used to this technology and stuff and using it in this way.
yeah,
So I'll come back to you with my tinfoil hat on and the headphones, and you know, in a few weeks, man.
No, it's a good look, man. It's a good look. You know, like someone could be listening to this on a real podcast, you know, and be like, yeah, this is some awesome content there, mate, you know?
Yeah, well, you know, I hope so. You know, but in essence, it's like these young people, you know, they're influencers, and you know, wherever it needs to go, just as long as it can get there, that's, you know, that's an achievement. And you know, it's part of my therapeutic release. You know, just talk, like, I ain't spoken to you like this in however long. You know what I'm saying? So,
Nice,
like,
true, man.
yeah, it's like, yeah.
You need to get one. You need to get one of these rappers on your on the platform, man.
Rather, as I said, I'm starting with you, man. Innit? That's what I'm saying. I'm starting with you. Know, you work your way up, innit? But yeah, man, nah, like it's a good look, man. Nah, there's definitely potential out there. You know, there's Mike Tyson. I'm saying I'm gonna get Mike Tyson, but you know, there's like Mike's out there talking about psychedelics. You know what I'm saying? There's rappers like you said out there talking about psychedelics. You know, so it's about just putting it home and like you seeing where it can complement and you know, yeah, making Slop happen basically, man.
Yeah, man.
So with that said, bro, I'm honored that you took out your Friday evening and spent time here connecting with your brother. And like I said, man, I'll be in touch in the very near future to do this again if you're open to doing it. Bro, keep up the good work, man. I know what you're doing from the outside looking in as well as the inside where man has been. We know what you're about and what you're up to. Just don't stop in it. How did we find you, bro? How did we find you then?
Oh yeah, if you Instagram, The Gift of Manhood on Instagram, The Gift of Manhood, or I've got so many Instagram votes. Like that's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, let's just stick with that. Yeah, The Gift of Manhood, man. That's where I'm at.
All right, cool, bro.
Yeah,
and like, I do know, like, I'm gonna say that you have a website or anything, because some people don't do this. Like, I've met a few of them recently, and they just don't like the two I met today. They don't do Instagram. They just don't do it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So is there another website, just a direct website, or?
Yeah. The Manhood Academy Global.com.
Yeah, because your screen has been switching from Samain D to MAG. What's that about? Is that me? No, all right. Are you Mag?
Mag, yeah. Manhood Academy Global, yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool, man.
Yeah. So yeah, manhoodacademyglobal.com.
All right, wicked, bro. Much appreciated, as I said once again. And man, I just see you on the other side, innit?
What happened to your hair, man? Jeez.
What do you mean, man? Just natural, innit? Organic. Like yours, man.
Yeah, man. Love to the family, yeah?
Yeah, one all the time, bro. All right, bless up.
Yes.
Peace.